It up the alley in left center field, all the way to the wall. Here comes Bichette. Here comes Clement. Here comes Varsho. And IKF has cleared the bases.
YouTube and Facebook, and is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers flying home today, probably getting close to landing, and they'll lick their wounds. They'll get on the ice tomorrow. At least some of them will. And we'll find out, what, is Darnell Nurse going to play in game 4? It was very odd. Stayed on the bench, played a shift here or there, played about total of, 2 minutes maybe after, he clearly looked like he had some sort of issue on his left side, on his hip. Warren Foegele should be back. He, of course, just got a game misconduct for his 5-minute knee in major. Evander Kane's playing. It's clearly not that healthy. What are the Oilers going to do? After a very solid game 1, last night, the Edmonton Oilers, Florida was the better team. But here's the thing. Even though Florida was the better team and they had, they were controlling the play, it wasn't like when the game was 1-1, Florida had an endless amount of chances and Stuart Skinner was just standing on his head, right? That wasn't really the case. You get into the third period, it's 1-1. It's a close game. And up until that point, you haven't played your best. But then the Oilers blinked. Evan Bouchard, who's been very good all postseason, clearly wanted to clear it higher, put it right on Rodriguez's tape. He makes a shot. I don't know if it might have touched McLeod a bit or not through a screen. And then it's 2-1, and that really seemed to give him some momentum. Then he scores again on a power play, ending the Oilers' penalty kill streak at 34 consecutive kills. And then it's lights out Irene. Ekblad gets an empty netter late. And it's a 4-1 victory for the Florida Panthers. The Edmonton Oilers going to Florida to score 1 goal in 2 games. You're not going to win. All right. Sam Carrick has been fined by the NHL for his, you got the penalty. Anybody who saw it basically lifted his stick right up in the junk of Kulikov late in that game. So he gets a fine for just over $2,200 for Sam Carrick. But, he'll be eligible to play in game 3. No official word yet on Leon Draisaitl. There's a lot of speculation he won't be suspended. And I think you can make an argument either way on that play. I would say this. If it was role reversal and Draisaitl had been on the receiving end of that hit, where a player's feet left the ice, made contact to his jaw, Oiler fans would be wanting a suspension. So I can see it both ways. To me, I look at that play. Leon Draisaitl is not a guy who delivers hits very often. Look at it. I think he had the fewest hits of any forward in the regular season. He's not a hitter. So now you're trying to do something you're not really used to. You kind of get awkward. I don't think it was malicious intent at all. It's not like Barkov's Tkachuk. If it was Tkachuk, maybe I'd think twice, but it's Barkov. Pretty gentlemanly player. And, Draisaitl caught him. The fact that he, his feet left the ice before contact, it doesn't look good. So I wouldn't be stunned if he got suspended. Because by the rule of the law, feet aren't on the ice. You make contact clearly to the face. You can make an argument for it. I can also think that they will take a step back and say, okay, who's delivering the hit? What's his past history? All those sorts of things. And that's going to benefit Draisaitl because he's not being a physical player in his career. He's not a dirty player. So that could help him. I know there's lots of speculation he won't get suspended. I don't think he will. You know what? It's a pretty big deal if he did in the Stanley Cup final. I'm trying to think, when was the last time a player got suspended in the Stanley Cup final? I'll have to look that up, but it's been a while. So we'll talk lots about that on the show today. Pierre Maguire will join us in hour number 1. Dave McCarthy will be by. We'll hear from Struds. Kevin Lowe will be by. Derek Van Diest. Also, we'll hear from Hergy Mayala. The Elks receiver had 2 touchdown receptions in their loss to Saskatchewan this past weekend. We'll hear from him. Also, Terry Ryan and TR is going to join us a little earlier today. He's going to do 2 hours from 2 until 4 today because, hey, it's kind of a big deal. He's got a big event to go to later on tonight for some dinner and such. So he will join us now. TR, how you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I do have an event. A group offered me. They were Shoresy fans, hockey fans, and they want me to take them out. It's a real nice day here. Mid-20s, no clouds in the sky, and they wanted me to take them out for a bite, and then tomorrow take them around and show them the sights. Offered me a nice dollar figure to give them a tour, and I'm going to cap it by taking them down in my dad's basement and going old school. These people are real nice. They just want to have a good time. I almost feel bad taking their money, but hey, they offered, and we're going to have a great couple days.
All right. Well, that should be fun. So you go through the game last night, and I know, on the broadcast, and let's be clear, the broadcast was incorrect in claiming that delay of game penalty should have been a delay of game. You saw Dave Jackson on ESPN. Well, maybe you didn't see it. And other officials, if it's not where you make contact, of course not. It's when you actually shoot the puck and the puck leaves your stick, and by then it's outside the blue line, it's not a penalty. I had two officials that I asked the difference between Bennett and Fogle. And their explanation, I'm not official. They said Fogle looks like he leads with his knee, whereas Bennett doesn't lead with his knee. Do they make contact? Yes, but you're not leading with your knee. If you saw Fogle, TR, you saw him kind of like you're extending your knee. It's out in that position. And they say, by definition, they view that more as a knee major on the two plays. And ultimately, it didn't matter because Florida took a penalty during that major, and Edmonton killed it off anyway. So people are all up in arms about it. But what did you, I guess, are you surprised? I think Draisaitl might get off lucky here. A, didn't even get a penalty in the game. And B, he made clear contact to the face of Barkov. What did you think of that play?
Of the Draisaitl specifically? Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. It's just the fact of leaving your feet. It's just a reaction. You try to break these things down as we've had days to think about it. You can slow it down and everything. He just wanted to hit him, and he wanted to, he was trying to play hard and left his feet. Different if it was at the end of the game and he had a vendetta against the guy. Frustrated players, you just go out. What's the easiest thing to do? Go out and start working hard, finish every hit. It's not like Leon to do that, and he just left his feet, I guess, because it was maybe unnatural or whatever. I thought the ref, without breaking down every single play, Tkachuk got a brutal penalty too. I couldn't believe that one more than anything. He had one hand on his stick.
Well, that one and the Bouchard slash too.
Yeah,
so they're kind of, those ones countered each other because I thought they're both kind of weak.
Overall, unfortunately, the Oilers got the raw end of the stick, but it wasn't one of these things. Sometimes it's so blatant one way. You're like, did the refs, were they in on this? But I thought it was just, I don't want to say incompetent reffing because I get it happens at a high pace, but anything that you get to slow down and watch, I thought Fogle got the raw end of that stick. I really did. I understand it, I guess, to the letter of the law, but look at the play. There's a difference. If it's Darius Kasparidis or Marchment back in the day, you probably know what they were thinking. I don't know. It's for me, it would be a little different in the playoffs. You'd have to really, really have to convince me to give a guy a major penalty like that.
Now, Draisaitl did get the penalty. Remember, it was delayed.
Yeah.
The refs. Well, now maybe the ref outside the camera screen had his arm up, but I sure didn't see it. And anyway, he did get the penalty on that one. You look at the supplemental discipline. It doesn't sound like there's going to be any for Draisaitl, which I could understand it both ways. I could see how, because I'll tell you, if it was the other way around and Draisaitl was on the receiving end of that hit from Barkov, Oilers fans would be saying he should be suspended. All right, and so that's why I've always said, be careful when you yell and scream for a suspension, because then you have to be consistent and want it if it happens for your guy delivering the hit. And so, in this case, if he's not going to get suspended as everybody's claiming, then you know what? Probably got a little bit of a lucky break. I'm guessing the Panthers, like we already heard Paul Maurice today say, hey, things are trending. He's going to play. And I'm like, well, of course he's going to play. Like that. The hit wasn't that devastating. I thought that it was going to lead to him not playing. There's always a little bit of gamesmanship involved. Obviously the score is 3-1, right? Why bring him back? So I understand that. But I thought there's very little chance that Barkov's not going to play in game 3. And that's probably played a factor in why Draisaitl doesn't get suspended.
Yeah. And like suspensions were, I don't like, for me, especially being the Stanley Cup final, a suspension, it'd have to be a lot more obvious for me. I find that people are playing hard and they're slipping a little bit. It's a lot different. I can go to a lot. I don't know. There's plays in this playoffs, but remember, I think Kadri got suspended a couple times in the playoffs, and you could. I don't know why I'm going there to 5 years ago, but I'm just not seeing that. Like the word suspension to me, it'd have to be a real intent to injure. I just don't see it. I see people now. If I'm the Oilers, though, kind of related, but not like I come back, I start running people. Like, okay, it's time to start running people. I don't think the Oilers get run out of the building or anything, but clearly Panthers, I mean, and they're good players, right? They're coming at you. I get it. That's why Draisaitl did what he did. It's a team play, I think. Unfortunate. But really, I think he was just like, they're running at us. I'm going to run at them. And he just doesn't know how to run at people. He's not, it's not what he does all the time. But, I would definitely, if I was to change my game as the Oilers do that, they're going to have the crowd behind them. I expected Florida to play like that. I didn't think it was going to be 2-0 Oilers. I thought 1-1 at best. But I also think the exact same thing the other way around. It's going to be tough to come in and get one off the Oilers. I fully expect it to be 2-2. Now, there's a lot that has to happen between now and then, but there's a lot of hockey played. That's why I like what you said earlier. If you're going to be a fan or you're going to be a coach and you're going to get upset at this, like that's going to happen again the other way around. Barkov or someone's going to run at somebody and you're going to want them to get suspended. It's going to happen. There's at least 120 minutes of NHL hockey left, and I think a lot more. And there's a whole lot there's a whole lot of layers to that onion. And I think the Oilers are confident for being down 2-0. I think there's no harder place to play right now at this time where we are than in all of sports than going into Edmonton right now. I don't think it's going to be easy. And to be honest with you guys, like I thought a guy like Tkachuk could come out a lot. I know he's playing okay, but I don't know. I see him as vulnerable. I jump all over them. I think when they come back to Edmonton, they're going to take the play. And just like that first game, whatever that mindset was, go out. I know there's injuries. There's injuries on both sides. I'm really confident going in. I thought it was going to be 1-1 or 2-0.
Yeah, well, the Oilers played very well in game one and lost. Bobrovsky was excellent. Yesterday, I thought Florida was the better team. And even though they were the better team, Terry, it was 1-1 to start the third period. And at that point, you said, okay, guys, we come in intermission. Let's get going. And then Bouchard has been very good, right? They kind of blinked first. And, obviously he's trying to clear the puck. He's trying to raise it. It doesn't get anything on it. It goes right to Rodrigue, like right on his tape. And then boom, it's in the back of the net. And, that's unfortunate. After that, the Oilers really didn't generate a whole bunch. Their power play is going to be better. And here's just the truth. When they come home for games 3 and 4, their best players flat out need to be better. You're not going to win in the Stanley Cup final scoring 1 goal or half a goal a game. It's physically impossible. And those guys, that's their job. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Nugent-Hopkins, right? Hyman, that's their job. And so far, the big guns of the Oilers haven't done their job. We can talk the depth guys. You want them to chip in 100%. But that secondary scoring, you need your big guys to get going here on home ice.
Yeah. And again, just watching from afar, I don't think it's a problem that they're not delivering in their promise to play hard and play well. I just don't think it's going in. Really, even last night with those limited shots, I don't know. I'm looking at McDavid first, obviously, but everything from the way he's playing to his comments, I think he's right. It is a long series, and people go, it's 2 games. Yeah, it's 2. I just don't see it. McDavid's buzzing. I really think he is. Of course, it's going to be a little harder. It's a bit of a roller coaster in the playoffs, but I see that. But I also see I see the point. Like who gets the goals for Florida yesterday? Rodriguez, right? Like so. I mean, there's 2 sides to it, right? Like sometimes you obviously need some secondary scoring, but whereas Tkachuk, I don't think is playing like Tkachuk yet. I don't think McDavid and company are playing poorly. I just don't think it's going in. And I think everything from the law of averages to just logic says that is going to break at some point. I don't care if Bobrovsky's in or Patrick Waugh in 1986. I just think it's going to go in. You get the home crowd. That's why it's a 7-game series where 2 games are over. It's easy to start panicking and saying it's over, like Biz Nasty now in Chiclet's world. I saw some of his comments. That's easy, though. It's easy to jump on that. You got to realize there's a reason. Look at every series that's ever gone 7, right? Unless it's 1-1 right now. Lots have been 2-0. It's gone 7. Now, I really think it's going to go 7. Whoever called it's going to go 7 didn't necessarily think it would be 1-1, right? It can be 3-0 is a little much, but the Oilers got to win the next game. It is almost a must win, right? But it's a long series, and I don't think it's even close to over, and I think Florida know that. If anything, they know that the first game they got real lucky, and some of their better players have to play a lot better, and who knows how hurt Barkov is? We don't know. It looked to me like maybe he's hamming it up, but not hamming it up, but maybe going with the flow for the right situation given the play. But, we don't know. And it's tough. 2-0's tough. But giving this series, I've ever seen that it's 2-0, I am not sold on Florida winning this, not even one bit.
Yeah, I do believe Draisaitl's got to play in game 2, and he even said it after the game. Hey, we got to play better and starts with me. I thought Draisaitl in game 2, he turned over the puck too much. Was trying some hope passes where he doesn't need to do that. And, he's an elite passer. Take your time. Don't force things. I thought their power play looked a little bit like, okay, we got to force things here. All right. I know it's only been 2 games, and we'll say it was 4 games against Dallas, but they only had 6 power play chances against Dallas. They've already had more in 2 games against Florida. So, I think their power play, there's lots more pressure. It's a Stanley Cup final. I get it. But, their power play needs to get going. And, they did hit a crossbar and a post, so they're close. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? It's not horseshoes. You don't get any points for being close.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and I mean, it's funny because when you say it's close, like what ends up mattering, what ends up holding weight, obviously, is who wins. And you look back, and I try to think of examples that it was close and they should have, but it's tough because that's not really documented, right? You got to go back and look, and I remember that when this team outplayed that team, but and so there is that. It's got to go in the net, and if it doesn't, then it's not a goal, and therefore analytics is out the door. But I'm just from what I see, put it this way: if I'm the Oilers, hockey's, you could argue that it's all about momentum, or at least a lot of it's about momentum. And if I'm the Oilers, and they're pretty experienced. At least they've been in this position a lot. If it's only with the Oilers, but they all come from somewhere that they've played before. Some of them have been in Game 7 in the, junior finals, whatever it would be, NCAA, maybe even the American League. And when I'm looking at it, I don't see that anybody on the Oilers is really hitting the panic button, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, I saw McDavid right afterwards as a captain and a leader, and he said all the right things. Hey, you know what? I'm excited to see what our team's made of, because this is, this is the time now, right? Like, it is easier to come back when you have 70 regular season games to get in the playoff race, right? It's easier to come back on Vancouver in the second round. Now you're coming up against Florida, who's a better team than Vancouver, no question, in the Stanley Cup final, right? There's more riding on it. So I love this. I love this response. That's what you would expect from your leader after the game. And you know what? Hey, the crowd's going to be absolutely boisterous, raucous, loud, not only to start the game, I think for the entire game. History says the teams that go down 2-0 on the road, they come back that third game at home. You know what? They are amped up. And as much as Florida can talk all they want, we know it's hard to match that desperation. It just is. We see it all the time. So, you know what? Game 3, I won't be surprised if they win. It comes down for me. The big one's going to be game 4. Can you then repeat it?
Yes.
Right? Because now it's different. So, like, I won't be surprised if they win on Thursday and Saturday. Like, obviously Thursday's a big game. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but if Edmonton wins Thursday, I don't think people can be like, oh my God, I can't believe they won. Right? But then it comes down to the Saturday and then even later, because we've seen teams get back to 2-2 and not be able to finish it off, right? Like, there's in this, and I only use the salary cap era because I think it's more comparable to what we see in today's hockey, just because, there's not as much of a disparity in teams anymore. And the 13 times in the salary cap era where the home team won the first 2 games, they won the cup 11 times. The Pittsburgh Penguins, 2009, came back against the defending champion Red Wings. And then the Boston Bruins, who only scored 2 goals in their first 2 games that year against Vancouver, and were shut out in the first game, they came back and won 4 of the next 5 as well. So, we'll see what happens here. I'm with you. Like, I don't think you can count out the Oilers, but like, obviously game 3 is a must win. You're not going down 3-0. It's not happening. Game 3 to me is a must win. And their best players have to be the leaders on Thursday night.
Yeah. Like, look, there's a side to this. Like, this is what legends are made of, right? Think about, I don't know. I often say to people, I'm like, the legends end up, the generational players, I've said it before, like they have in hockey, at least in most sports, they have a history of winning. No matter what, they win at some point. Now, if you break that down further, think about big goals. Think about Lemieux in 87 Canada Cup. I don't know, Crosby, how many big ones? I'll say the 2010 Olympics. I don't know, Gretzky, not even in the playoffs, but like, where did he get his record-breaking goal? Right back in Edmonton. Michael Jordan, how many clinch shots at the end of games did he make? And like, so, and one of those moments where McDavid, when he scored that the best goal of the playoffs there, the other night, he pulls it in and goes shelf. Those are moments. Those are the stage he led his team, but there's there. And I think the Oilers have 2, possibly 3 of those guys. We might be talking about Bouchard as a 3-time Norris Trophy winner at the end of his career. This is what these moments are created for people like this. So to me, you got McDavid, Draisaitl, you got Bouchard. Really, I mean this. I know they have some great players too. They do. But to me, legends are born right now, right here. You just mentioned 09. Who was on that team? Sidney Crosby. There's and I do think this is where you do it. It's one thing to say it, but this is where you do it. And you might have a bad game, but you find a way in the end to get it bounced in. I don't know. I'm thinking who's out there in Canadian. Remember even when the Leafs lost, when Gretzky high stick Gilmore and it didn't get called? But if you look at that series, it was Gretzky, Gilmore. They were pushing each team, and they both had huge goals. And there's, to me, that's what it's about. And I don't. You haven't really heard much from those guys, other than Bouchard making a bad play that happens to people. He knew right away without everybody flipping out. It's one play. I mean, God, there's so much happening out there. He's come so far. But I think that they're going to come home, and either he's going to go bar down late in the game, or McDavid, or Draisaitl, or there's just a lot of generational star power there that I think is going to come through. And by extension, leadership, they're leaders.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ron with you on Sports 1440. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox, 833-401-1440. Your partner in power, need everything electrical, EWEL.ca.
Got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Ottawa Blackjacks Thursday, June 20th at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Wolf GMC Buick. And it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Mr. Ruther does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Ruther, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Ruther.
The basketball and hockey seasons are heating up. Baseball is just getting started, and we've got you covered with around-the-clock sports coverage. Tune in for Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. Sports 1440 has you covered.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
It's time to bring the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since 1993. Let's go, Oilers! Bring it home! This is Sports 1440.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you on a lovely Tuesday afternoon. The Oilers flying home today. It sounds like the Panthers might be jetting here to Edmonton tomorrow. So they'll be practicing in Florida. So we'll see about that. And then the Oilers and the Panthers Thursday night. We'll find out tomorrow on the availability of a guy like Darnell Nurse. They do have Cody Ceci, so you could play Broberg and Kulak on the left side with Ekholm, and then Bouchard, Desharnais, and Ceci on the right side if Nurse can't go. Fogle obviously will be available again. It was just a game misconduct. Sam Carrick got fined for hitting Kulikov in the Jubblies late in that game. Gets a $2,200 fine, and sounds like no supplemental discipline for Leon Draisaitl. And according to Paul Maurice, things are looking up for Barkov, which I don't think is a surprise that he'll be ready to go in game 4. Let's get to our big guest of the day now, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for 12U and 14U players to continue to develop and improve their skills. Learn more at femalesuperleague.com, as we are joined by a longtime analyst for the NHL, of course, former NHL general manager, now host of the Sick Podcast, Pierre Maguire. Joins us. Pierre, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Very well, Jason. Nice to visit you. Hello, Terry.
Good to talk to you again, my man.
Very good to talk with you.
Pierre, give me your thoughts of the Stanley Cup final, the overview of the two games that you've seen.
The Edmonton Oilers were the better team in game 1 through the first 40 minutes. I think everybody in Edmonton would agree to that. They weren't the better team in the last 20 in game 1, and they definitely weren't the better team for most of game 2. So they've got some soul searching to do. I've always said this. I've always felt this from my time coaching in the league, working in management in the league. You're never in trouble in a playoff series till you lose on home ice. Game 3 is obviously an important game for Edmonton. Everybody knows that. But they're going to have to bring a lot of what they brought through the first 40 minutes of game 1 to game 3 if they're going to have any success in game 3.
Yeah, it's funny how different the two games were. Edmonton really controlled much of that game 1, and Bobrovsky was outstanding. In game 2, it was even though Florida was the better team in the first 40 minutes, they hadn't generated a ton of quality chances, and Edmonton really kind of could have stole one like Florida, but then, they kind of gave it away on a Bouchard miscue, and he's been excellent in the postseason, but that's just a play that, you don't want him to make. To me, I look at the Oilers now, and I went back to the 2009 Penguins. When in game 3 and 4, after trailing games 1 and 2, where Crosby didn't have a point in game 1 and 2, Malkin had 3 points in game 3. They won. Crosby scored the game winner, had 2 points in game 4, and they got back on track. If the Oilers are going to get back in the series, Pierre, their big guns got to be the leaders. It's just that simple in the NHL playoffs. When it comes to Stanley Cup final, your best guys got to lead. Otherwise, I think it's too hard for them to overcome.
That's well said, Jason. I broadcast every single one of those games, a 7-game series in 2009 between Detroit and Pittsburgh. Game 6 was an absolute whitewash. And when you look at, Game 5 was an absolute whitewash, and they found a way to get back in the series. Pittsburgh, that is, and there was a lot of it due to the leadership of Mario Lemieux. It was just phenomenal what Mario was able to do as an owner in the league to get the team back on track. And that's not to take anything away from Danny Bylsma and his coaching staff. But ownership made a big difference in that one, I can tell you. I was there. But I would say this, your point about star players is spot on. I've coached a team that was down 3-1 in a playoff series, Pittsburgh versus Washington back in 1992. And we found a way to win. And Mario Lemieux and Ron Francis and Jaromir Jagr and Brian Trottier and our top players were our best players. And you're going to have to find a way to get that out of Leon, out of Connor, out of the Nuge. You're going to have to find a way. The one thing I found interesting, I don't know how much you guys have brought it up, Jason, you and Terry, and maybe other fans that are calling into the show, but, look at Evan Bouchard's numbers through the playoffs. I'm talking about time on ice, and especially after the Nurse injury last night. And don't forget, Bouchard took 4 minutes in penalties.
Yeah.
He still played over 30 minutes last night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that is a conducive or a positive thing for him and the team. Those minutes are a lot. That's excessive at this time of the year for a young player who's never had any Stanley Cup final experience.
Speaking of that, I'm curious. 92, right? You guys win the cup in Pittsburgh. I know you had stars there. I think Jagr was just starting. Francis was there, but Lemieux in particular had I don't know, one of those years, 130 or 40 or 50 points or something. And I guess Paul Coffey being there was probably at the end, how much did those guys, but Lemieux in particular, did you keep track? How much was he playing per game? I really can't remember when people ask me that. I'm I don't know. Were those guys ridden a half the game? I don't really remember.
We felt that after the 91 playoff experience where we won the cup, and Paul Coffey was part of that 91 Stanley Cup winning team in Pittsburgh, we traded him with Mark Recchi to Philadelphia in the 92 season, Terry. We got Rick Tocchet, Michelle Samuelson, and Kenny Reagan. And most people thought that we got crushed in the trade based on the personalities and the numbers that were traded out. But we knew we needed to get tougher and we needed to get bigger. We knew we had to sacrifice skill to do that. And we also needed to have depth and goal, and we were able to do that. But, you talk about minutes for star players. We felt that Mario could play between 26 and 30 minutes a game as a forward. We thought Lonnie could play between 22 and 26 as a forward. And we had young guys, Kevin Stevens was just starting out his career. Jaromir Jagr was 19 years of age. Bobby Airy was just, in the beginning part of what was a very long career. So we had younger guys along with some sage veteran experience. Brian Trottier was phenomenal in terms of how he shepherded the young players to understand what it took to win. So I can't say enough about those guys. And then on the back end, Larry Murphy and Gordy Roberts were really important players for us. So we had a good mix then, Terry, but we felt that our star players could, like Mario, could play upwards of 30 minutes in a game. We really felt that as a forward. And Ronnie just a little bit less.
Well, you were clearly correct. Who would be right now, outside of Bobrovsky, who would be Maguire's monster on Florida so far?
Sasha Barkov. He's been phenomenal. And then the runner-up would be Gustav Forsling, Terry. I mean, you look at it, those two guys have been phenomenal. They make a huge difference. Bennett's been important, but not nearly as important as Barkov. Tkachuk really hasn't played an elite game yet, and I think Matthew eventually can. I don't want to, upset people in Edmonton, but I don't think he's had an A game for a while, talking about Matthew Tkachuk.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Rodriguez was huge last night, but I don't think there's a player in Florida that's been better than Sasha Barkov.
Edmonton comes home now. Pierre Maguire joins us as we're talking all things Stanley Cup Finals. Home ice advantage, I think, is definitely an advantage. You look they didn't try to get McDavid away very much from not only Barkov, but also the defense pairing. But on home ice, you can do it a little bit easier if you choose. Knobloch hasn't really gone out of his way in the postseason to really get away from a matchup that much. So I still think Barkov's going to get a fair amount, but it's somewhat easier, though, to run your bench more so to get your D pair than your forward out, correct?
That is 100% correct. It's easier to match 2 guys than it is to match 5 guys. The one thing I would say, I wouldn't play into the matchup right away. I was really disconcerted last night where they played right into the matchup right from the first faceoff. I would never have started McDavid last night. Scotty Bowman probably wouldn't have either. I worked for him. You never want to roll over and play into the matchup right away. Make it unpredictable for the first draw. Foul up the other team's strategy just a little bit. I talked about that during the Toronto-Boston series, especially early on when Toronto was getting shellacked. They kept putting, Austin Matthews out against the checkers for Boston on the road and just change it up. And they did that in game 2, I think, or game 3, I forget now. But they were able to really cause some problems for Boston. They made it a longer series because of that. And when you're on home ice, it's going to be Paul Coffey knows, and he's got, an array of experience, winning experience that's huge. So does Kenny Holland, especially when he sat at the lap of Scotty Bowman when they were working together in Detroit, from 93 until 2002. So Kenny knows what I'm talking about. Paul's been in the room with us. He knows what I'm talking about. And I think at some point they will have to pay more attention to that when the series goes back to Florida. I do think Edmonton will prolong the series. I don't think that's a hard thing to say considering the fan base and the star power, but it'll be easier for the players to get into rhythm and break free from some of the matchups when they get home to Edmonton, no question.
Pierre, on a different note, we have the draft coming up later this month. And, the draft lottery, everybody kind of stayed in their spots. But, depending on when this cup ends, there's not going to be a lot of time to turn around. The Edmonton Oilers, all signs everybody I've talked to, I don't think Ken Holland's coming back. How much do you think that's going to, be a significant factor for the Oilers in the offseason, or the fact that they don't have anybody who's in desperate need of a contract right away? Like Warren Fogel's going to test free agency, I'm pretty sure. They got other depth guys, but, Draisaitl, Bouchard are up for an extension. It doesn't have to be signed on July 1st. What do you think the biggest challenge is facing Jeff Jackson? And do you think there's a chance he becomes the GM?
Oh, yeah. If he doesn't become the GM, he's the de facto boss of hockey operations. So you can't really do anything without his approval, I would say. And ownership, figured that out a while ago. There's a reason why Chris Knobloch's there. I think there's an affinity. Jeff Jackson knew him well in his body of work. And it's not to say Kenny didn't, but Kenny had been long divorced from scouting amateurs for a long period of time. He deferred to his amateur scouts. So that'd be the only way he could have got a read on Knobloch, is what other people were telling him internally. I think that Edmonton's in a good piece of position going forward. I really do. I've been really impressed by what Chris Knobloch has brought there. I've been really impressed, obviously, by the penalty killing and the way Mark Stewart has really performed there. Really impressed, obviously, by what Paul Coffey's been able to do, especially with Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. Both those guys have gone to a different level. So there's a lot to celebrate in Edmonton. There really is. And I don't think there's that much duress on upper management. The draft's obviously an important date on the NHL calendar, but I don't think there's any reason for anybody to panic in Edmonton right now. I think they're in a real good position going forward.
Pierre, always good to catch up with you, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the remainder of the Stanley Cup final.
I really appreciate that, Jason. Thanks a lot. Terry, really nice visiting with you. You sound great.
Great talking to you, buddy, and let's catch up again soon.
Thanks. Look forward to it. Take care.
There you go. That's Pierre Maguire. And you know what? I think most people would agree with the assessment of Terry, myself, and Pierre. But hey, game one, Oilers were the better team for the majority of the game. Game two, it was Florida. The difference is Edmonton didn't win game one, right? Bobrovsky was great. And you know what? Game two, the Panthers get somewhat of a gift on an unfortunate clearing attempt by Bouchard right on the tape. Boom, it's in the back of the net. But I do agree with this point on the time on ice. Now, last night it's different because Nurse is essentially out of the game. right? But, Evan Bouchard, I think he's a guy that will benefit from the extra rest from the day off today because he played that many minutes and he had taken the penalties, right? I look at, the Oilers are going to need 6 healthy defensemen in game 3 just to limit Bouchard. Bouchard's playing 24, 25, no problem. Even 26 or 7. You get up to 30, 31, man. That's just a bigger difference than not a lot of guys are used to, and that can start to wear you out long term.
Yeah, even if they see that's there's two sides of that coin, right? Because you might feel like you can do it, and maybe he can, and feel great, and but you just at some point, right, that you're going to have to burn out. I mean, the best ever do. I guess you don't have to, but the odds are you will, especially if you play that much and it's a physical series and it goes deep. Now you're looking back going, God, that first game that we lost, or the second game we lost, and he played 31 minutes. Now we just need 25 real good ones. And, it starts to wear on you. Within those minutes, it's one thing to play and have to be your muscles and the cardio, everything has to be, you have to be physically as good as you're ever going to be, prime physical. But that's not even counting the injuries and the bruises. Where are the bumps and bruises? Are they on my ribs? Are they, where am I going to be absorbing all that? So, the more you play, the more odds are that that's going to happen. And, I mean, that's just what wearing down is. I'm just giving you the definition of what it is to wear down. But, when you play those minutes, to me, again, hard for me to sit here from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, playing shinny this morning and talk about it. But just as a hockey player, I think people out there can relate, even if it's junior. You start getting into 28, 29, 30, 31 minutes, you're vulnerable. You'll no matter what, you'll cheat at the end. It doesn't have to be even offensively as opposed to defensively, but something you're going to do, you're going to let up a little bit. And now that's when the injury happens or the mistake happens, right? So you got to really watch that.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. We'll come back. We got Ryan's Rant, TR's Tales, and more. Lots of text, 833-401-1440. This is the Jason Gregor Show, live on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10-plus odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of Lower Bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Ave 118.
Join Kidsport Edmonton's Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction, June 19th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Bell in Scona. Celebrate 29 years of Kidsport with 90s attire and courage. Tickets are $75, including entry into a mountain getaway draw. Enjoy a night of sports talk, appetizers and bevies, silent auction, 50-50, and a beer tree raffle. All funds raised support local Kidsport Kids registration fees. Visit kidsportbids4kids.com for tickets. Event is 18+.
As a business owner, you know that good business is based on good relationships. So imagine, how would you feel if your commercial insurance was driven by people, not products? At High Street Insurance, we've been serving Canadian businesses like yours for 10 years. People, taking care of people. We take the time to learn about your business so we can ensure that your insurance coverage is finely tuned to the nuances of your commercial situation. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
This is Paul Sir, host of the Basketball Show on Sports 1440. Every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, we cover local, international, professional basketball right here on Edmonton's exclusive home for sports talk.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to ElitePromoMarketing.com.
.247. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley alongside Terry Ryan. Tuesday afternoon. TR's in a little bit earlier. He'll be from 2 to 4. Today, you can always get involved, 833-401-1440. Also remind you that Gregor Show presented by playalberta.ca, and it is Tuesday. You know what that means? Lotto Max, 50 million up for grabs tonight, and 2 Max Millions. So get it all. Check it out at playalberta.ca. It is time to get to Ryan's Rant, TR's Tales, brought to you by Action Electrical. They always encourage you, if you're thinking about it, you've been on the fence when it comes to solar on your home or your business, contact actionelectrical.net. They can help you walk through the entire process, give you all the best advice on where you can save money, get the rebates, government, etc. actionelectrical.net. Here's TR.
Thank you, Jason. Well, we're in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I might as well tell something that's half relevant to that, right? So I am going somewhere with this, but in the late 90s, there was a golf tournament. It was the Canadian Skins, Pro-Am Skins game. Freddie Couples, those who know golf, Freddie Couples, John Daly, Mark O'Meara, and Mike Ware. And so those are 3. I don't know if Mike had won. Mike's a Canadian that won the Masters. I don't know if he had done it already. I know O'Meara had. Couples and Daly, I think, are household names, even if you're not into golf. So, but they needed, so the game was for them and then 14 other quote unquote celebrities to head up a hole, right?
Okay.
Kind of like, a fundraiser at the same time. So it was a great time. It was in Charlottetown at Crowbush Cove, or in PEI at Crowbush Cove. Real nice golf course, one of the nicest in Canada. And I don't golf much, and at that point, I'd only golfed a few times ever. But none of the Canadians wanted to go. They were all invited. And I guess, they were busy doing other stuff. This happened to be in PEI. So I got a call from the front office of the Canadians saying, can you go and do this? And I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah. And the other celebrities, quote unquote, it was like, that's where I really got to know Ron McLean well. I just played in Red Deer a couple of years before, so we talked about that. I remember that all night, really, where I got to know him. Anne Murray was there. Peter Mansbridge, Bob Cole was there, like people that, and I hadn't really met him yet. I just outside of a brief hello when I was a kid. So this was an awesome time. And I remember after it was over, it was still nice. And Daly came back out with us and been drinking all during the round. And then when we went into the banquet, and we all brought something to like silent auction for like a local, I think it was the Boys and Girls Club. So when Daly, I remember we went back out and we golfed like 4 or 5 holes. And he teed off of the top of a beer can the whole time. And like, there was absolutely no blemish, like straight down the middle, like way out, like John Daly. And I remember it being just an awesome time and an awesome memory. So much so that I met a lot of locals. And the next year they had their Boys and Girls Club Golf Classic, of which I'm going to. I've only missed 2 since. So I'm going to it in July 21st.
Okay.
So I really love, anyway, I love the whole weekend, everything else. The Skins game just turned into a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club. But I was like the spokesman. I'm not really a big golfer or anything, but, you know, for a couple of years, myself, David Ling, some guys from PEI. But at the same time, during that exact time, there was a local from PEI named Brad Richards, and Brad was on the way up. And Brad, so much so that I remember, like, in his draft year, and we're going, okay, like, we all knew Brad just from going over. Twice a summer I'd be in PEI. It's not big. Charlottetown, I don't know, 40 or 50,000, maybe a little bit more than that. Summerside, even smaller. Those are the 2 biggest places. So, you know, after a while, you get to know everybody in the island, and or at least that goes out to the restaurant bar scene or the hockey rink. So, anyway, we got to, and now Richie took that tournament over. Obviously, he ends up winning the Memorial Cup. He's like MVP. And he took that tournament over. It became the Brad Richards Golf Classic for like 10 years. And we went every year. He was nice. And my career was shortly over after that, you know, with my ankle injury and everything else coming home. And Richie never forgot that. Didn't matter. He used to fly me up to the tournament every year. So my career was over, and I knew it in 01. And then, you know, I played till 03, though, on cortisone shots and like in the buried minors. The Atlantic Coast Hockey League is the last. It was Orlando. It was fun, but it was like the Southern Pro League now. I just wanted to play pro, and I knew that I would never get to the NHL. So that's just the way I finished it out. Now, that was 02, 03. We won it. In 03, 04 would have been my first year back here, not being involved in pro hockey, which was a tough pill for me to swallow. And as crazy as it turned out, you know, when Richie was like really young, he looked up to me. I was a first-round pick that used to go over there and, you know, and even in my limited career at the end of 1 year there, I had a couple of fights, Bugner Burnaby, it's Hockey Night in Canada. So, you know, my name was probably as big as it would have been on the island when he was like at 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
So he always, anyway, appreciated that and everything. And we so we really supported him. And when I was out, when I'm looking at it going, Richie, you're going to get there. And he gets there, and he's like Rookie of the Year. He's unreal. So it's his 3rd year, I suppose. It's 03, 04. And we're at his golf tournament. This was right before the season started. At his golf tournament, which is now his golf tournament, and took a bunch of us up. I'm there with Ryan Clough, Teddy Purcell, a couple guys from Newfoundland that were just coming up themselves, like just on the precipice of it all, but knew him from being an Atlantic Canadian. And then my dad came over to it every year. It was a great time. Crosby was there that year. And Richie just says, okay, so we're on the piss in the middle of the day, like after the tourney, and we're going, okay. We're like, you know, you got a chance here. Like Tampa Bay are going to be good. And they were, I know they won the Cup 03, 04. I can't remember, but they were a really good team as well. They didn't sneak in. I think they had Dave Anderchuk. You know, they had enough there that we were going like.
They had lots of good players, man. Marty St. Louis, Vincent McCarthy, they were good.
Yeah, there was a great team to watch too, right? They were really entertaining. And I remember going to Richie that we brought it up. We're like, you know, you might have a chance at the Cup. He would never say anything like that in the summer. Anyway, he says, yeah. And we had a buzz on. And he says, if I do, you guys will get a stick. And I'm like, okay, if that happens, we didn't ask for that. But he's just such a nice guy. I never thought he'd remember it. So anyway, the year goes by. Boom, sure enough. They beat, I think, Montreal. Then I think Philly. I can't remember who after that. I really followed it hard. And then in the final, Calgary. So we fly out to a couple of games. We're like, man, Richie's going to do it. He wins. And he wins the Conn Smythe. We're loving it. We can't believe it. So that summer, we head up there again. It's my dad, everybody I mentioned, a few more at this point. Now that he won the cup, right? It's intriguing. We're like, he's going to have it over to his place and everything while we're there for the thing. So we go up, and sure enough, we're sitting down there, and he brings out like 12 sticks. It's for me, David Ling, a bunch of pro guys, a bunch of his friends. He goes, you guys asked me. So we're like, what happened? He goes, well, I used about 6 different ones in warm-up. And he goes, I made sure to use another like 5 or 6 during the game. And he's like, so all of these are actually sticks from the Stanley Cup Game 7. And he goes, I got them for you guys. And we're like, no way. Or I guess the playoffs. So not wouldn't have all been from Game 7, but sticks that he used in the playoffs. And he said, I made sure every time, like some of them are new because I just use another one. They're all the same pattern. And I remember you guys. So we're like, this is awesome. So at my house now, I have a Brad Richards stick from, and he just ends up getting the Conn Smythe, which is wild. And I remembered my dad. So we're at his pool now in the summer when we've seen the evolution. He's from a little place called Murray Harbor, right? So we're from now we've seen him when he's a kid with just in Rimouski, like struggling to try to get up and make a name for himself. And now he's got this awesome spot with a huge pool. And me and my dad are sitting next to it. This would have been 2005. This would have been after he won it. And Senior goes, hey, come down. Richie, we want to hear about the Conn Smythe. He goes, oh, I got to leave soon. I think this was like the 3rd day. So we're ready to go to the airport. We're just nursing a hang on his pool. We want to hear about it. He goes, you want to hear about it? And he's got like they give you a Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
There's one that stays, and then there's one that looks exactly like it. And he throws it from the 3rd story from his bedroom, and it lands in the pool and goes right to the bottom. And we go bring it out, and he comes down and he goes, okay, sit around. He goes, I'm going to tell you all about the Stanley Cup Finals. He was kind of being hammy about it. Anyway, we all changed our flights. We stayed there all night. And anyway, as we're all holding a Brad Richards stick, who just got the Conn Smythe, who's our buddy that we've seen evolve from like junior nuisance rink rat to NHL MVP. And he stays all night, and we book our tickets the next day. One of the nicest guys I've ever met for someone with that platform, especially being young and just, he had this finger on the pulse. He was the man in the NHL. And I don't remember, he was going out with a model in it. But anyway, never, ever, ever forgot his roots and was such a nice dude that we all have sticks from the Stanley Cup final that he gave us for that reason, merely because we asked.
It's the old adage, you don't know what you'll get if you don't ask. And, some guys wouldn't remember and some guys wouldn't honor, but you know what? I think, here in Alberta, there's lots of guys from Edmonton or St. Albert and different places that have won, and they're pretty big. But when you're from a smaller area, I do think there's sometimes maybe more of a connection with others. Now, there's going to be people when Colton Parayko, I know for a fact, when Colton Parayko bought it home, I think he took it to the Glendale golf course, if I'm not mistaken. He was even at West Edmonton Mall showing with some of the kids that day for the brick tournament, which is coming up again here very soon. And he, I remember talking to one of his buddies who was just like, dude, like when it's one of your good childhood friends who wins, and it's almost like you live vicariously through them in that moment where you're just like, you're super happy for that person. And the real good people, they know kind of who are the Klingons and kind of friend, but they never forget like their true friends. Cause they're like, those guys, they like that I'm a hockey player, but that's not why we're friends, right? Like they were friends growing up, you're playing street hockey and all that stuff. Cause you're just buddies. And then one of them goes on to have success. And so you do have a different connection because of that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And it really, I think you summed it up well when we happen to be hockey players, but we were friends more than anything. And I guess it's a celebration of hockey culture, but also small town Canada, like small town Canada, like, I told you guys, screw it, it's a Stanley Cup final. I don't care. There's a level of just like punkish kid, like, whatever for you guys, and he also numerous times, and, I know lots of people obviously that played in the NHL. I'm just telling you about Brad Richards, and I could go on and on, but he was nice enough over the years. Oh, Olivia Munn was her name. He went out with a model, and we're just so, hey Richie, you got some tickets, or but he would always hook us up in New York, and he never really forgot about that. It's one thing. he didn't forget about being Canadian, but he didn't forget about being like from Murray Harbor. You know what I mean? There's one thing to remember: be proud of where you're from, but then really be proud of where you're from. You know, like Richie'd be just as happy at the pub with us, sitting down at maybe St. James Gate in PEI with nobody around, and I love that about him.
There you go. That's TR's Tale, brought to you by Action Electrical. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And stop in today at Booster Juice and try the new Booster Mixers, the perfect summer sippers these warm summer days. Also, download the Booster Reward app to order one today, only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Sam Carrick has been fined for slashing Panthers defenseman Dmitry Kulikov late in Edmonton's 4 loss to the Panthers in Game 2. The NHL's Department of Player Safety handed Carrick a $2,200 fine, American, the maximum allowed under the collective bargaining agreement. First, Oilers and Panthers won't meet again until Thursday in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. The association off for another night. They'll be back with Game 3 tomorrow. We got Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays in Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. First pitch set for 6:10. Also the Yankees in Kansas City. Cards host the Pirates. Rockies taking on the Twins. Nets host the Marlins. Guardians travel to Cincinnati. Rays host the Cubs. And Tigers meet the Nationals. Braves in Baltimore. Padres take on the Athletics. The Mariners welcome the Chicago White Sox to town. And the Rangers take on the Dodgers. The Edmonton Riverhawks back in action tonight, taking on Kelowna once again. First pitch set for 7:05. WNBA Commissioner's Cup. You got the Dream and Mystics. The Lynx travel to Vegas to take on the Aces, and the Storm hosting the Sparks. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small iced coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes flavored iced coffee and delivery.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Ave 118th.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit glass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Take your bedroom to the next level this spring at the Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals, and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 on major kitchen appliances. And get free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks are delivering dingers and zingers this Saturday night, live. Donovan Workin and his improv troupe will keep you laughing all through the game.
Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. Got to.
Ryan Connor Halley rolling through a lovely Tuesday afternoon on Sports 1440. A lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. We have lots of texts to get to. I know a lot of people are, I think we have to clarify a few things because a lot of texts coming in about how, the refs were incorrect. No, the broadcast actually was the one who erred when they were giving their explanation as to why they thought that should have been a penalty, but it was incorrect. And Dave Jackson, former official who obviously knows the rule book inside and out, and that's why I think anybody who watches the NFL and cons you to having Pereira and those other guys who are officials who know the rule book inside and out, I think that really helps on a broadcast. And if there was one thing, I think you don't necessarily have to do it in the regular season all the time. I guess maybe you could do it probably on the on a Saturday night if you'd like to incorporate it. But I really think there'd be a benefit to having similar, like ESPN has it with Dave Jackson, and he's going to join us on the show tomorrow. I think it would be beneficial for Sportsnet to have something similar because you have guys like, hey, Kevin Bex is a former player. He can break down the game incredibly well, but doesn't know the rules inside and out. He's never called a game, right? And so you can share your opinion on it, but when guys are giving false information, not that he did, but about the rule for the what should have been an over the glass, but it shouldn't have been over the glass penalty. Dave Jackson explained why it shouldn't have been, and they got it right. And then they had officials explain the difference between the Fogle and the Bennett, right? Kind of leading with, now everybody's going to hey, maybe it's not okay, but you don't have to like the call, but at least we have a better chance. Like when we had Bud Steen and Kerry Fraser on our show all the time, there was a lot of listeners like, okay, you know what? I don't have to like what they're saying, but now I understand it more. And I do think that's something that's missing on that broadcast. What do you think?
I agree with you. Totally. I mean, I will say the NFL, they've had some that weren't so good. They had some that were very good, like Mike Carey when he was with CBS. It was a joke when my buddies and I would watch because he'd always get the call wrong. But Gene Steratore, very good. And it's just something we don't know. So, and I've been there. I mean, I've been watching football. That's a terrible call. And then a ref who's done it for as long as they have slides in and tells you why the call was made. It just kind of shuts you up. It puts in your place.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like it, but that's the right call. And I think, Sportsnet would benefit greatly from having someone who they just bring in, similar to the way we've seen the ESPN does it, the NFL does it. It's just a very easy thing you can do. And just to give that ruling, someone who's not biased, they're just telling you this is what the rule book states, and this is why it was made.
Yeah. TR, what do you think?
I'm all over it. We're never, ever going to get to a point that everybody agrees. People are still going to disagree, and they might even be extremely stubborn. But if you hear someone that's been trained and educated on the subject explain it, to me, there's a whole lot of ease to the mind that goes along with that. Okay, I see what you mean. Sometimes you're looking at something like there was an offsides, guys. Remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Cale McCarr. Can you remember that? Remember that offsides? And I couldn't understand, but it took, people were going so crazy that I think it may have been on Twitter, but some referee, somebody came out and explained it. And although I don't fully agree, I'm like, okay, there was a method behind that madness. Now I understand. It's not just a bunch of people drunk looking at a screen going, that missed that by 3 inches. It was a momentum thing. Okay, now I get it. And they'll even refer to a rule in the rule book. Then I get it. I just think it's a lot easier on everybody, and I think it's a layup. It's an obvious decision.
Yeah. No, I just think if you're looking at it nowadays, I think you owe it to your viewers
Yeah.
to have someone who knows the rule book inside and out. They spent that many years, they would know every obscure rule. They just would. Right. And so that would make it, because, in the moment, Chris Knobloch, that might be the most animated I've ever seen him. And I get it. It's like a final. But did you notice he was animated? Then when the ref came over, did you see his reaction? Like Knobloch's ability, because I'll tell you, when I lose it, I can't just rein it right in. And I've never been in a Stanley Cup final on a bench as a coach. So I can't imagine, but I was watching, I'm just like, God, I got to learn how to do that.
I think it's a real talent. And it's really, really benefits a head coach of it. Like, I didn't think about it. I'm serious. Till he did that, I took it for granted so much, right? When I'm looking that, because I'm so used to seeing people flip out, and I didn't, and I'm like, God, he really holds it in. And then to be so clearly, he showed his emotions, so he's here, but then comes over and he gets composed. That's a real good thing for your team. To me, I truly believe that when Mike Keenan says someone like that is losing their mind, they believe they're leading. But to me, and maybe they are to a degree, but for me, I'm looking at that's a poised leader that I want to get behind if I'm in a big game. It's great. It's a real underrated talent.
Yeah. Like he keeps control, and because you always forget that, because the minute, think about it as a parent, if all of a sudden you're watching something and you lose it, well, now your kids, right? All of a sudden the next time they're losing, you're like, hey, you're not supposed to say that. And he's like, well, why? You just did. And you're like, yeah, you little, and he's right. And so as a coach, if you want to tell your players, we got to keep our composure, right? You're in the game. Someone gives you a cheap shot. I don't want you to turn around and slash them, right? You got to keep your composure. So as a coach, you got to do the same. And he had a little bit, then he looked at the replay, talked to the ref probably explained to him why. And then he's like, I don't like it, but serenity now. And yeah, that's what really stood out to me. It was when I watched Knobloch's reaction and the ref was talking to him, and he did not, because if he was strong, I think at that point, if you really believe your team's getting screwed over, you're going to say something. But if the ref explains, the puck was actually on the line, it's outside of the defensive zone, it's not a penalty. Because it's not where you touch it, which makes perfect sense. It's where you release it. That's obvious, right? That was a no. Like when I heard that explanation, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would it be where you touch the puck? If you touch it and then stick handle out to the neutral zone, is it still? Of course not. So yeah, it's got to be when the puck leaves your stick. And so I want to clear that for a lot of the audience, because people are still texting in saying there should have been a penalty. Well, no, it shouldn't have. By the rule of the law, it's not. The puck was on the blue line when he shot out. It's outside the defensive zone. So close, very close. Did Stenlund know that? I don't think so. He got a little bit lucky, no question about it. But the Oilers, you know what? Hey, I don't believe officiating was a major reason last night. Like, you look at the amount of penalty time, because twice, remember, Florida got power plays, and twice they took penalties to negate the power play. Now, one was a major, but it still took away 2 full minutes of the major. They played 4-on-4. And then the other one was they took a penalty, I don't want to say 45, 50 seconds into it, right? Negated it. So the actual power play time last night, I think, was like only 2-minute difference. And it's all said and done, an actual penalty kill time. So I'm one, and I've said this many times, I don't like the officials. I think I agreed with Terry. I thought the Tkachuk penalty that he took was kind of soft on the one hand on a stick, just like the Bouchard penalty that he took. They were both weak. So now you might not like it, and I understand it, but it's just like saying, well, the referees are terrible. Does anybody say Bouchard's terrible? No, he made one really bad play. So a ref's going to make, in a split-second decision, they're going to make a bad call. But at the end of the day, I don't think officiating had anything to do, because guess what? When you're on the power play, you can score.
Yeah.
The other team kills it off. The refs have nothing to do with it at that point. So if you get a few penalties that go your favor, then it's up to you to take advantage of it. And if you don't, then it's kind of a moot point, is it not?
Totally. And you know what? Let's say this. One thing that I know, and without being there, I can't tell you a lot that goes on, but I bet you my bottom dollar, and I bet you would say the same thing, each team could care less right now about the referees going into that. Like, that's in the past. They're looking forward to game 3. What can we do? They're talking about how to shut down so-and-so. They're talking about which systems, what do we need to prove on, who goes in and out of the lineup. The very last conversation any of them are going to have is who's reffing and why, what should we do to combat that? It happens. Some games are bad, some games are good, but this topic, after we talk about this today, after they play on Thursday, it'll be just something that doesn't come up again, unless more crazy things happen. But I think the page has been turned. It was a game that I think there's a reason the magnifying glass is on the referee. I know those calls add up and everything, but like you said, in the end, whatever. You had power plays. You've had, in very recent history, had a record-setting power play to go 6 or 7 in a row without scoring. At some point, you have to look inwards with that blame, right? No matter who's reffing the game.
Yeah, it's very true. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hey, guys, I agree on the official being on the broadcast. Unfortunately, Sportsnet's cheap and CBC's too broke to hire someone that actually has a clue. That guys are all about the money, not the viewers, from Reed. No, I think Sportsnet could do it. It's just maybe not something they thought about. But like anything, lots of good ideas. You know what? The best form of flattery is when someone takes your idea. And now I think that ESPN has Dave Jackson. I won't be surprised if next year Sportsnet has someone. Right now, you got to get an official who wants to do it. Right, somebody who's going to be able to explain themselves very well, and Dave Jackson's very good at it. Right, so you can't tell me there's not another former official out there who could do it, who's well spoken, who knows the rule book. You spend how many years in the league, you'll know the rule book inside and out. So I think it's great. Hey guys. Bouchard is awful. How embarrassing is the tap out? He's a grown man. Not go ballistic when that's happening to him. From Rage Texter B. Well, you're living up to your name. To suggest the guy's awful is just, no offense, it's idiotic. All right. It's a play that he would like back, no question. Ekblad's behind him. Like, what's Bouchard supposed to do at that moment? Because think about it. You have trained fighters. Why do they tap out? Because they can't get out of it. They're trained fighters. Are they raging to get out of it? Like, think about what you just said. You have guys who train their life. Pretty sure Bouchard doesn't train ever to get out of a chokehold. Right? So you have guys who train and they can't get out of it. So, right? Now we do have people saying, hey guys, if Carrick's getting the should Ekblad not get it for choking a guy? That's a good. Has a player ever got a fine for choking? Right? Like we have a lot of stick infractions. Right? I don't know. I would I don't think so. I'm trying to see if there's ever been a precedent for it. And really, at the end of the day, what's a fine do? Absolutely nothing. Right? Like takes money out of his pocketbook that does not impact anybody. Like he makes $7 million a year. If you fine him $2,000 or whatever the max is, he'd probably be the max based on his contract. So I don't think it's going to change. Right? Well, like, do you think Bouchard could do anything different there, Terry?
I would have flipped out. I probably would have taken a penalty, though. I don't know. It's Evan Bouchard. You got to realize what you're dealing with. And to say he's garbage, come on. He's going to get a Norris Trophy, at least one before he's done. I've seen a lot of improvement. I get it. The kind of player I was, that irks me when I look at that. But the game has changed, and you got to just let's be thankful that he's not injured. He's not hurt. He didn't take a suspension. He's in the game. That's it. I know it sounds like a wuss answer coming from someone like me, but that bothered me the least of anything. I mean, I just as soon not see it. Like to see him come back and pop a guy, but it's Evan Bouchard. I'd also rather see him score 2 goals on the power play next game, and he probably won't do that if he gets all hot and bothered about this or that, or like I said, Florida at the beginning of the series, Florida are going to do that, right? They're going to get in, even their good players, they're going to get in the face, and they're going to do that. If I'm a coach, I love to see spunk out of guys, but I won't necessarily hold it against them if it's not in their nature and they come out of it okay. You got more things to worry about. I'd rather just come back and focus on the next game than, getting out of a chokehold creatively.
Yeah. Hey, boys, scoring 1 goal, 2 games is why they lost, not the refereeing from Tails. Well, bing on. Exactly. That's what we've said, right?
Well,
and that's why the Oilers. Hey, what's the biggest strength of the Edmonton Oilers? And it has been for many years. Offense. And when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, if there's one element of the Oilers game that I'd be confident that they can find, it would be their offense.
Yeah.
And I use the 2 teams who have come back from 0-2 deficits to win the Cup. The 2009 Pittsburgh Penguins, guess what? They had a rookie head coach. Dan Bilesma took over with 25 games left in the season. They faced a team that was also in the Stanley Cup final the year before. It just happened to be the team that won in the Detroit Red Wings. They went down 2-0. Now, Pittsburgh went into the Stanley Cup final. They had the most goals in the NHL through the first 3 rounds. Sound familiar? Then they only scored 2 goals in the first 2 games. Crosby had no points. Now, Malkin did score. Then in game 3, they win at home 4-2. Malkin, 3 assists. Game 4, at home, Sidney Crosby, goal and assist, including the game winner midway through the 3rd period in a 4-2 win. Now, then they go back to Detroit, get shut out. 5-0. Now you got a rebound. And then their depth guys scored some big goals. Tyler Kennedy had a goal and an assist when they won 2-1 in game 6. And then in game 7, that was the Max Talbot show. Remember, he had 2 goals in the 2nd period? They won 2-1. Now, Malkin had an assist. He finished with 8 points in the series. Crosby was actually kind of quiet in that series. He had the one big game, game 4. But that was it. And you're going to need, you're going to need depth guys eventually. But I look at this game 3 and 4. I'm looking at McDavid and I'm looking at Draisaitl. They got to be the leaders for this team. And that means offensively. It's not just trying hard and getting shots. I know it's hard. But guess what? That's what they've done all year. The Oilers got to this position because that's their guys' role. That's what they do. Right? The penalty killers have done their role. Right? They have. The power play hasn't shown up yet in the series. And who's the main focal points in the power play? Right? So you should be confident when you look and say, okay, what's the element of the game they got to improve? Defensively, I think they've been pretty good overall. Right now, obviously, Bouchard, the one play. Bouchard's made a lot of really good plays. That one, it went back, no question. But that's what I look at. The Oilers' best guys.
Listen, when we talked about, I know this is a lot of pressure to put on somebody, okay? But when you're generational and you're this good, but just think of, remember that goal Steve Yzerman scored in the playoffs on Fuhr? Put St. Louis out when Gretzky was on there. Not a lot of people. Gretzky and Hull were on that team. St. Louis had a real shot at the Stanley Cup with Gretzky playing. Lemieux came in. It was double or triple overtime Yzerman and take that slap shot top corner. That's a highlight. Remember Lemieux against Minnesota when he went around 2 guys and he went around the one guy twice? Do you know that goal? It's always on Hockey Night in Canada at the beginning that Lemieux takes it in, pulls it over, pulls it back, then dekes out the goalie. Then think of the Wayne Gretzky coming down the wing and slapping a top shelf on Vernon in the, I forget, I think that's in the, that might be in the, it's in the playoffs at some point. Bobby Orr, think about it. Again, some of these generational players, because I'm sick of hearing, who's better, Crosby or McDavid or Gretzky? Well, McDavid's better, Gretzky. Look, they're 2 different eras. It's tough. I always say relative dominance in the era that you're in, and I will continue to say 16 years in a row, Lemieux or Gretzky won the scoring. I don't care if you get 50 points or 400. That's a defining factor, relative dominance. But another thing is what you do in the playoffs. And I can think of each one of those players I mentioned with one of their big or more, their performances or highlight goals or whatever it is in that moment. McDavid's done it once. The other, I think that was a defining moment that goal he got. Was it against Dallas? Yeah, it was Heskin, and he went around, right, and made that move in a big game, stuff like that. Now, I hate to say you got to do it again, but like you said, they got to step up. And all the players I've mentioned have done it numerous times. And if you look, there's 82 regular season games, whatever, but a lot of the bulk of their highlights come from the playoffs because, that's what you remember. That's what champions are born and bred, leaders, generational players. So I really, like you said, it's one thing to have to step up and get shots on net. I'm sorry, guys. I am. I think there's a place for hard work, and like you almost did it, but you're going to have to put that puck in the net. You got to do it, and you're going to have to do it in big fashion, and you're going to have to lead your team if you want to be considered even close to those legends that I've already named.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you. Dave McCarthy will join us next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember to use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50. You'll get a free $50 play with a $5 deposit at PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans. For GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street. Open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
Lovely Tuesday. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan along for the afternoon drive home. Or maybe you're still in the office listening, watching on Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, on Twitter. We appreciate it as always. And we are going to go around the NHL now, brought to you by McDonald's. And it starts today. It's the strawberry cheesecake McFlurry. I love cheesecake and I love strawberries. So it's strawberry sauce made with real strawberry pieces mixed with chunks of cheesecake flavored cookie dough. Ooh. Maybe you need something to calm me down from a loss last night. Try it right now, only for the next month at McDonald's, the strawberry cheesecake McFlurry. As we welcome in our regular Tuesday guest from the NHL network and of course on Sirius XM, Dave McCarthy joins us. Davey, how you doing, my man?
Good, boys. I that sounds good. I have to say that cheesecake flurry, but I
feel like if I was an Oilers fan, I'd need to go to something else to calm me down after the loss last night.
Oh yeah, maybe like a strawberry liqueur is what you're saying.
Hey, there you go. A little framboise, never a bad thing.
Framboise, yeah. We'll see. Now the Oilers, you know what? After game 1, I think they'd be pretty happy about their game. Now, obviously not the result, and then game 2. The thing was, Dave, for the first 40 minutes, it's a 1-1 game, and yeah, Edmonton hadn't played very well, but at least offensively. But Florida hadn't really generated much either, right? It just came down to the one play you crack first, and then Florida got the goal, and then Edmonton just didn't have a response in the third.
No, you're right. I mean, it was like, it's tough, I think, if you're the Oilers right now, because you look at game 1, I think they should have won that game. Sergei Bobrovsky stole it, and I guess that's one of the reasons why you pay your goalie 10 sheets a year sometimes, because he has the ability to steal games that you probably don't deserve to win. So you give him credit for that one. And if you're the Oilers, you're feeling not too bad about yourself, even though you're down 1-0 coming into game 2. They take the major penalty early on in the game, which I think you could make an argument. We're not going to get off on a tangent here, but I think you could make the argument maybe that's a 2, not a 5 on Fogle. Regardless, they end up with a 1-0 lead after the first period, when it could have been 2 or 3-0 if Florida really gets cooking on that power play. And then they're right there after 40 minutes before Florida really turns it on. So it is narrow. The margins are really narrow, but I don't think you're right. Florida didn't generate much at all in the first 2 periods of game 2, but Edmonton didn't generate anything all game long. And here's a stat that was, I thought, quite instructive of how the game went. 0 passes to the inner slot. They average about 4.25 during the regular year. In game 1, they had 18 stretch passes completed, just 4 in game 2. So Florida did really well when it comes to how they played defensively. And I think heading into game 3, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, they're going to need to find a way to produce something. It's just as simple as that. Where you're at this time of the year, if those guys can't get it done, I think the Oilers are in real tough shape.
No, 100%. Like, I don't think it's captain. Well, it's kind of captain obvious, but it's true. Like, your best players got to be your best players. And you know what? When you have McDavid and Draisaitl, the odds are there. After the game, Draisaitl was quick to point out, hey, we got to be better, and starts with me. And I think he's one of the main guys. I thought for one of the rare times, there's a little frustration on their power play, even though they did hit, the last power play they had was their best. They hit a few posts. They got some good looks. And, maybe that's a sign that they're coming out of it. We'll see the next game.
They passed up a lot of shots, on the power play, I thought.
Geez. Yes. Yeah. Like, too much. Florida's like, oh, you guys want to pass around the perimeter? Every penalty killer in the world will say, yeah, you guys can look great moving around. You're quick, but nothing was ever dangerous there. And yeah, there was times where they had a good look in the slot, and they would try to force one pass through the seam rather than let it go.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Rodriguez power play goal, an unconventional power play goal off the rush, but I forget who it was. I think it was Lundell on the sideboards, made a good play to elude Evan Bouchard, who kind of made a bit of a weak play along the boards. He got around him, and Rodriguez right to the front of the net, gets the puck on net, and he tips it in. I mean, it wasn't one that you draw up on the whiteboard over 4 or 5 practices and you work on it. It was just a simple meat and potatoes play, and it worked. And I think that's kind of what the Oilers need to do. Certainly the power play, that's been a big advantage of theirs all playoff long and throughout the regular season. Has not been the case here in the Cup final, going 0-for-7. They need to find a way to get some greasy goals. 1 goal in 2 games just simply isn't going to cut it.
Dave, what's your game plan if you're the Oilers? Well, I mean, game plan might be a little vague, but what do you do differently?
Well, again, I think it's simplicity at this time of the year. I don't think it's going into the film room and drawing up more complex schemes on the power play, certainly. It's getting the puck to the net. The reason I bring that up, that they passed up a lot of shots, because, I mean, that struck me as I was watching the game. And when you're in a position where a power play goal can make a big difference, you got to find a way to get the puck to the net. And they didn't do it. And I think this time of the year, you don't worry necessarily about schemes and formation. Just get the puck to the net, get traffic, tip the puck, jam away, get rebounds. and see if he can score that way. So that would be one. I'll be interested to see how Chris Knobloch approaches it from a matchup standpoint in Game 3 now that the Oilers have the last change. Because at 5-on-5, the Oilers didn't generate really anything at all of consequence in Game 2. They need to find a way to generate at 5-on-5, but that's going to be a really tough ask of this Oilers team, because it's not just them that struggled against the Panthers. Here's another stat that blew my mind when I saw it and I looked into it to make sure it was right. In the playoffs, Art Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, David Pasternak, Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl. Goals at 5-on-5 against the Panthers, 0. So, that goes to show you how well this team plays at 5-on-5. And, it's not a case that they got lucky, so to speak, last night or over the first couple games of this series. They've been playing pretty damn good against the other team's top players all playoffs long. So it's not an accident the Panthers are as good as they are.
Way off the board here, but I was asked today, I don't know the answer to this. Who would you, Four Nations Cup, who would be 2 goalies of 3, say, that you'd take right now?
For Canada.
For Canada.
Yeah, it's, oh boy. Can I reserve judgment on that and see who's playing good like a month and a half before the tournament?
Well, that's exactly what I said. But right now, I'm like,
I know, man.
There's like Skinner's in the Stanley Cup final. Do you take them? I don't know if there's a runaway like there always has been when these tournaments happen.
No, I mean, you think back to where we were when it was best on best 10, 15, 20 years ago. It was Waugh, it was Brodeur, it was Eddie Belfour couldn't dress, it was Curtis Joseph was getting left off the team. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And any one of those guys could have been your starter.
Yes, I forgot that. Yeah.
So, now, like, gee, even it was Carey Price, Roberto Luongo not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're looking at it right now,
there's one obvious one, guys.
Jordan Binnington, would be my guy, Jason. I agree. And even he goes hot and cold at times, right?
Yeah.
There's stretches where he looks unbeatable, and then there's stretches where he looks like he's more interested in running around trying to fight everybody than stopping the puck.
Yeah.
So, I guess it would be Binnington, like Aiden Hill, maybe in Vegas, based on what he did last year when he had a good structured team in front of him. I guess Skinner, like maybe it comes down to him or Darcy Kemper or Tristan Jarry, but like,
there's no one that stands out. Just
holy
that's what
cow! I
That's
hope we
what
don't
thought.
need to get to either of those 3. No disrespect to Stuart. I know where I'm on right now, but I just certainly hope we don't have to go down. I guess it would be Binnington, but I'm not. I put it this way.
True enough. I said, am I missing something here?
No.
But I had the same problem. I was
goaltending will not be a strength of Canada at the Four Nations tournament.
No, it'll be whoever gets hot in the air.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to win with their team in front. I mean, they're going to have McDavid. They're going to have McKinnon. They're going to have, I think, Sidney Crosby certainly still is going to be in a position to make the team this year for the Four Nations. The Olympics we'll revisit a year from now. I have no reason to believe he won't be on that team. The way he played last year was unbelievable. Canada will be, like Brad Marchand, I think, should still be in consideration for that team. Still a lot of good players for Canada up front and on the back end. Guys like Alex Pietrangelo, those type of guys. I think that's where the strength of Canada will need to come from, is their team game and then just play clinically in a way where you're asking your goalie, just make the stops that you need to make, where there's no traffic. We keep that to the outside. You shoot from and you make the stop. Can you do that for us? If you can do that, I think Canada should be fine. But it's not going to be a situation where they can lean on their goalie the way they maybe were able to in past years.
Davey, enjoy the rest of your day. We will chat with you Sunday on your show and next Tuesday here, and we'll see where the series is at because we've got, we'll be setting up Game 5 unless there's a sweep. which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, and I will leave you with this. You asked for it last week. The Oilers need a little bit of the power of the staff here to get back into this series. Maybe a little magic.
Of course, you've got a staff or a sorcerer wand or whatever.
There you go.
How could you not?
You know me, Terry. I was a little worried when you went tarps off there at the beginning of the chat.
I was just trying to not notice anyone. It was changing on the fly.
Right? I'm like, is that where this is going here? Like, I don't know. I hadn't got to the gym yet today, so
I have a bus full of people that I don't know pulling up in about 5 or 10 minutes to get me, and I'm taking them on a tour of St. John's for the next 2 days. No joke.
Oh, baby. You get screeched in the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to take them right there, of course. Yeah, that's part of the plan.
Thanks, Davey. Have a good one, buddy.
See you, buddy.
That's Dave McCarthy and Sirius XM. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Dive set steal.
Let's bring it home. This is Sports 1440. AccuSteel heavy haul trailers have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for over 25 years, bringing you innovative solutions for unconventional problems. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. When you need to haul the largest machinery on the planet, they can do it with a premium engineered heavy haul trailer made right here in Alberta. They're 100% family owned, treating you like part of the family. Trust the experts at AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
Solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our biggest sale of the year. This month, every new and used vehicle we have has been marked down and priced to sell. We have Ram trucks that are 25% off, brand new trucks, and we have hundreds to choose from. We have 0% financing up to 72 months on Grand Cherokee. Even though we know our prices are great, every single offer will be considered. We will work to get you the best financing terms. We will pay top dollar for your trade. We will do what it takes to earn your business. It's our biggest sale of the year, and it's on now at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. The base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to Gregor at sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team.
Cruise through summer with a sleek new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi,
Explore the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada,
including the dynamic Outlander PHEV and the sporty Eclipse Cross.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you'll get 0% financing on all our 2024 models, including the RVR and Mirage.
Plus, every Mitsubishi comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer powertrain limited warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Oh, 346. I'm hungry like the wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Duran. Some, you know what? It's funny, like when you think of certain bands or certain songs, I just kind of, like I could see TR rocking like a Duran type of hairstyle at some point in his life. Hey?
Yeah, I really like Duran.
Yeah, I kind of,
you know, even now it's not too far off.
It's not too far off, actually. I get pretty good thick
But
quaff
I did.
hair
If you
going.
want to know, yeah, there was a period back in the day that I.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the 80s were cool to have like the big hair with the hairspray, it still wasn't like really. It was cool for rock stars. I was still taking a bit of a chance to go into school, but I used to like taking chances. It didn't always work out before like the NHL or Ted Hitchcock and stuff. I got punched in the face a lot growing up. That's true. Real true. Yeah.
Just because of your choice in hairstyles?
No, I think just because of whatever it is that made me not care about wearing the hairstyle in the first place.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Because I knew I'd get probably bullied, but whatever. And I would have a smart mouth on me. And I really, again, I'm not trying. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from as a human being. The least part of getting in fights that used to worry me was taking a punch in the face. I don't find it hurts. It must be the moment of the adrenaline, but I was more worried about him like losing bad in front of all the fans and letting my teammates down. But I'll take a punch in the face right now. It doesn't. So like, you know, like, so bullies didn't scare me as much as they scared everybody else. And I was in a grade. I skipped kindergarten, so I was big for my age and in a grade older than me, and at least half my grade failed a grade.
No,
I went to Mary Queen of the World, and I'm not.
Oh, so you got kids 2 years older than you.
Different world back then, but of the schools around, we definitely had the most people in our particular school that got left back. Back then, you'd fail, right? You didn't pass your test, you failed. That's it. So, you know, none of this pushing you on to the next grade. Yeah. So there was I had a smart mouth on me, I guess, and I got in a lot of fights.
We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440. Hey fellas, why do you think the Oilers, there's a reluctance, it seems, to shoot from their stars and put the puck on net? Are they thinking too much? Is there another reason they prefer not to put it on net? Just curious, not having played. I'm wondering, it seems obvious you can't score if you don't shoot. Quoting Michael Jordan, it's better to shoot and miss than let time run out and wonder what if. From David. What do you make of that, TR?
I think they know that. They were just in the moment and they're looking for a good play. I know that sounds simple and that's true, but they're all NHL players, and I think they're really aware of that. I think they know it, right? I think you're going to come out and see a completely different is the wrong way to put it, because of their power play structure. I love it. I just think they'll get a few shots off. They know it, man. You know it. They know it.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like, you know what? Good looks, you can't let him get in your head, because look at the goal they scored last night. Right? That's the first time Bobrovsky's allowed a goal 5-hole all playoffs. Right? Yeah. That, you know what? Now, they don't view that as a high danger chance. I'm like, man, it's a 2-on-1. The guy's in a pretty good shooting lane, but okay. So they didn't view
that as a high danger chance?
Yeah. Like that's.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I kind of found it.
What is a high danger chance? The only higher danger would be a breakaway.
Yeah. So
Or
yeah,
I guess a backdoor empty net. But come on,
yeah.
get any
So that's
shot
my
from
most
there?
question.
Now I didn't think he shot. Like I can't say I never would have. Looking at the play, I didn't think it was going to go in there. I didn't. I know they say shoot 5, but like he looked up, he had time to think about it. He shot, and it went in. I didn't think it was the greatest shot that went in, but it went in, and it's a high danger chance. Come on. Good Lord. Who's making these rules? I just hear those. See, I hear that analytically, and I assume that someone who knows what they're doing, and there's a list of what makes a shot high danger. You can't tell me a 2-on-1 when the D's not even in the picture is not a high danger chance. It's a 1-on-1 shot with the goalie from the slot. What are they talking about?
Yeah. Hey, dude. I'm with you 100%. We got a few more coming in. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, any update on Barkov? Yeah, Paul Maurice said things are trending up. And, like, let's be honest, I watched that play. Was it jarring? Sure. Did I think it was going to keep him out of a game 3 days later? No chance. I will expect Barkov to be in the lineup on Thursday. No update on Darnell Nurse. I think that's the one that's more interesting. Like, I'm trying to think of a time. Like, I get it's the playoffs. If that's a regular season, the guy leaves the bench and he's done for the night, right? But it's the playoffs. And so, guys, you try to gut things through and you try to play. You know what? They took a shift here or there. It was very rare, very limited in what he did. And, I wonder then once the game, it ends up, now he's got a long flight home. Now I know they have much better equipment ever, right? Guys are in, like those hyperbaric chambers almost. You put the blood that, I don't even know what it's proper called, but that sleeve that goes over your legs or arms to keep everything warm. They do all those sorts of things. So, even though it's a travel day, there'll still be things they can do to help benefit him. But lots of times your adrenaline wears off and then all of a sudden the pain increases, right? For lots of guys, or the stiffness or the soreness or whatever it is. So I don't know, man. It wasn't like it was a crushing hit from Rodrigue. And he finished his check, but it wasn't a bone crushing hit. Got him on the right spot. I wondered if there was something that was, do you have something nagging and that just aggravates it more? I think it's possible, but to me, Terry, the question that Nurse has to ask himself and then the team has to ask is, okay, Darnell, if you can play on Thursday, can you finish the game? And can you play 19 to 21 minutes effectively? Because if you can't, then we're probably better off to play Cody Ceci, right? Because the owners don't want to go down to 5 defensemen.
100%, and you need to know that. We need to know that. To me, I need to get 20 minutes out of your Darnell Nurse. Can you be effective, or if not, you're going to hurt the team, and that's just the way it goes. Sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, but that's the way it goes. I'd rather a healthy CC 100 out of 100 than a hurt Nurse. That's just it. Both of them have had weaknesses during the playoffs, right? Nurse's contract wasn't as big. He probably would have wanted sitting out 2 or 3 games ago. Got confidence in both of them, but don't mess with those injuries when it's such a tight series, man. I'd go with whoever's healthy.
Yeah, I would agree. TR, I know we got to let you go. You got a big hosting event. Do you have like a code word? You want to text anyone? You're hanging out with some strangers now for the next day or two. Make sure you leave somebody with a code word that you can just text one of your friends if things go wrong.
The good part is that I'm taking them on a pub crawl to my friends' bars, which also happen to be the places you'd want to go anyway, really.
Yeah.
Anybody hearing me now I know there's all kinds of Newfoundlanders listening to this out in Alberta. I'm going to take them to George Street. We're going to Greensleeves. We're going to Christians. We're going to Kelly's. We're going on from there, right? I'm putting them in a good direction. But then tonight we're going to head up as the sun goes down to Signal Hill. Those who know, they want to see the city in that twilight with the downtown lights coming on and the sun going down. I'm going to take them up. I know exactly where to go. And then we're going to go out to Cape Spear when the sun is completely down. They want to have a cheers, and they want to get screeched in out there for some reason. It's not me they got buses. I'm going to get up in the morning.
How many people are on this tour?
The people that asked me, there was about a half dozen, but I think there's like 30 they're here. Like they've never been.
Where are they
people
from?
that they're like almost like they're in their 60s and they wanted to come. So like I know that the people I talked to,
so there's no concerns now. They
came up. I mean, there's the odd like nephew and stuff. There are people there but like this is a bunch of people that like got together. They haven't been out east ever, and this is their final. Like they came to Atlantic Canada. It's Alberta. It's BC. I don't know how they all know each other. The group I talked to was from Alberta. And a couple of them I know live in Sudbury. They told me coming tonight. So this is going to be a mishmash of people. Tomorrow I get up. I'm interviewing Brian Scrudland from my podcast, Tales with TR. And right after that, I'm meeting these. It's going to be another splitting the rocks kind of day. Sun's going to be splitting the rocks. So I'm going to take them around to
Hey, wait a second. What does splitting the rocks mean?
When the sun's splitting the rocks, it's hot, it's a nice hot day out.
Oh, okay. Splitting the rocks. All right. Hadn't heard that one. I like it. So
yeah,
okay, well,
that's it. There's lots of nice things to do here in St. John's at this time of year. It's a perfect time to be here, especially if the weather's nice. You might get the tail end of a few icebergs, but I'm going to finish it. Actually, these people are here till Saturday, so on Friday morning I can get them out on a boat and they can go whatever it is they want to do, cod jigging, whale watching. It's a little early for the whale watching. Icebergs, you might be able to see one, but anyway, that's what I'm going to do. It's nice out on the water either way.
All right. Well, tour guide Terry. We'll just add that to the introduction. All right, tour guide. Have yourself a great day. We will chat with you later this week.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton. I'll see you guys in just a couple days.
There you go. It's splitting the rocks. Hey, I like it because it means it's sunny. And any other sayings from where you're from? Because I've never heard splitting the rocks. Do you have any sayings that maybe from a different part? Maybe there's a saying that's in Alberta that I'm unaware of. I'm just curious. And then what does it stand for? 833-401-1440. Be curious what we get here. Let's get to the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Sam Carrick has been fined for slashing Panthers defenseman Dmitry Kulikov, $2,213.54, the maximum allowed under the collective bargaining agreement. Of course, the Oilers-Panthers off until Thursday. In the association, another off day. They'll meet in Game 3 of their series tomorrow night in Dallas. Major League Baseball today, the Blue Jays are in action taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. First pitch set for 6:10 Mountain Time. You'll also have the Pirates taking on the Cards. Twins host the Rockies. Phillies travel to Boston. Mets host the Marlins. The Guardians in Cincinnati. Braves taking on the Cubbies. Braves up against the Orioles. The Yankees meet the Royals. Mariners welcome the White Sox at Seattle. The Padres will take on the Athletic. Astros in San Francisco, and the Dodgers hosting the Texas Rangers here in town. The Edmonton Riverhawks will take on Kelowna once again. First pitch set for 7:05 in the WNBA. Commissioner's Cup continues at 5:30. The Dream host the Mystics. At 8 o'clock, got the Lynx in Vegas, and the Storm hosting the Sparks. According to reports, Canadian striker Jonathan David could be on the radar of Manchester United of the English Premier League. ESPN's Rob Dawson knows that David is of particular interest because he's heading into the final year of his contract, which will be reflected in a lower transfer fee. Internationally, David has scored 26 goals in 48 appearances for Canada. And in the golf world, John Rahm is withdrawing from the U.S. Open due to an infection in his left foot. The 29-year-old Rahm had to withdraw from a live event this past weekend in Houston and called the injury a concern while speaking to reporters. The Open gets going this Thursday in North Carolina. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Edmonton Elks wide receiver Hergy Mayala, also former NHLer Jason Strudwick, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical Project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Try the new extra large New York style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra large New York style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra large New York style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Friday, your Edmonton Elks host the Grey Cup champ Montreal Alouettes for 90s Night, presented by Edmonton International Airport. Wear your best 90s outfit for your chance to win a trip to see last year's Grey Cup halftime performers Green Day in Montreal at Oshiega. Tickets and more at goelks.com.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape, only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed, payments cut in half. And with 3 license appraisals on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford in the St. Albert Trail.
How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. You want to try to mention, hey, it's playoff time. Want to get involved in NBA, NHL, use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50. It's done at the end of the playoffs. You get a free $50 wager with a minimum $5 purchase at PlayAlberta.ca. So get in, enjoy, and good luck to that. Oilers have made their way home from Florida. Sam Carrick's a little bit lighter in the pocket. He got a fine of just over $2,200 for his tickling of the twig and berries for Kulikov. Anybody saw it, right? Got the little stick between the legs, gets a fine. But that seems like that'll be the only disciplinary action coming from that game, which is good news for Leon Draisaitl. Better news probably for the Oilers and their fans, because no Draisaitl would have been very difficult to overcome. But he'll be ready to play. Barkov, according to head coach Paul Maurice, is had a good day and feels that, quote, he'll be an available player for them on Thursday, which I don't think is a real big surprise. Draisaitl, not a real physical player, awkward, right? Leaning, clearly his feet left the ice. There's no question. And I'll say this to Oilers fans who are like, no, the refs are against you. Really? Well, then Draisaitl would be suspended. Right? And just remember, he didn't get suspended. And if the hit was the other way, if you'd be screaming for a suspension, then you should be screaming for one now. If you're not, then don't in the future. It's always better that way. I get it's hard, but just channel your inner Chris Knobloch. Did you see him? Man, that should be used in how to keep your composure when originally you think something's wrong. Then the ref comes over, explains it. All right, it's correct. That was pretty impressive for Knobloch considering the situation. At that time, you're in the Stanley Cup final. You're thinking, oh, my God, we just got screwed out of a 5-on-3. And it turns out they did not. So there you have it. Now, let's get to our CFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Also, doesn't matter if your AC conks out, you need it fixed. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Our next guest had himself quite the debut in the green and gold. Of course, it is his fifth CFL season. Had stops in Calgary and Montreal for 2 years. Now with the green and gold, receiver Hergy Mayala, fresh off a 2-touchdown performance, joins us. Hergy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate it. I was looking through your stats, and that's your third 2-touchdown game of your career. You had 2 of them your first year in Calgary, so it seems like when you get in once, you're like, okay, let's go again. I guess give me your thoughts on, we'll get to the game in a sec, but just kind of fitting into a new team with Bethel Thompson and maybe earning the trust early on of your quarterback.
For me, it was just I felt like I needed a new environment, and Edmonton has just been perfectly there for me. Great culture, great coaches. They gave me opportunity to just be myself and play the game of football the way that I know how to play it, and that's brought to me great results so far.
So, for Elks fans who maybe haven't seen you, what do you feel is your strength as a receiver? Did we lose him?
No, I'm still here. I'm listening.
Yeah. So what do you feel your strengths are as a receiver?
I feel like I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I think the biggest thing that as a receiver that go underrated is blocking. That's kind of been something I've put a lot of emphasis on. But other than that, like every other wide receiver, run routes and catching the ball.
Hergy Mayala joins us, a receiver for the Elks. And Hergy, you know what? For 45 minutes, close to 50, you guys have been pretty happy with how that game was going. You seem to have it in control. And then, unfortunately, the fourth quarter, a few ill-advised fumbles, a missed field goal, an undisciplined penalty, and things kind of unraveled very quickly. When you're in the moment, do you feel the momentum going away, as we kind of saw?
I think in the game of football, you kind of feel it, but something that we've been harping on this week in practice is to understand that no matter what's going on, no matter the play, the good or bad, we got to make sure that everybody on the sideline believe that we're going to win. And I think that the next time that we face those situations, we're going to come out on the good side of that.
It's only the first game, in the preseason, there's not a lot of time together. Is that at all a factor early on? Because this is your 5th year in the league. Do you find that it takes a while for teams to really get sharp early in the season when you have such limited snaps in preseason?
I think that dudes just got to understand. I think that we got to, like I said, we got to understand where we at and understand that we have a lot of young guys on the team, guys that it's the first year playing. So once they understand how this game goes, how fast it goes, I think that we're going to click. And then those tight games, like you said, those mistakes in the end won't happen, and we're going to be able to win those games.
Looking ahead, I guess the one good thing about football is, you only got 6 days off. You get a day off, and now you prepare for Montreal. What did you like overall about your offensive game plan up until the final 10 minutes?
I think that we did a good job just dissecting and taking whatever they was giving us. Like you said, until those last 5 minutes, we kind of just took whatever they was giving us, and we was doing really good. And we got to finish next time.
What's the difference between taking what they give you and then deciding to say, we're just going to do what we want and they have to adapt to us? How do you find that right balance offensively?
I think that's really tough, but it comes out. I think that's something I think that they do a good job. Just kind of watching the film and understanding the tendencies. And once you understand the team tendencies, that's when the phrase taking whatever they give you come in effect. And once they slack, I think that's when you can do whatever you want. Whenever they start slacking to whatever they put on film.
Looking ahead to Montreal, and I know you've only seen one regular season game. You guys have obviously, you just didn't film Worm today. Well, what are you expecting from their defense? Are you expecting a lot of man? Are you expecting a lot of zone? What do you expect from them defensively?
Oh, they have a good defense. They've been playing together now for a year and a half. Those guys won the championship last year. So it's the veterans. They're sound. They're a really good football team, and for us, it's just going to be about executing and making sure that whatever they give us, we take.
Now, I know this is your first year in Edmonton, but the Elks are a team that last year the second half got better, but it's been a few years since they've been a winning team. And you mentioned off the top how we want to, as a group, be sure that we stay confident regardless of what happens. And it's nice to say that, but winning, like losing, can become a mentality, but so can winning. How important is it, do you feel, early on in this year to get a win for this team rather than have, even I know it's only one game, but you don't want to suddenly be 2 or 3 losing. Like, how important do you think that is for this team where a lot of the guys haven't had a lot of success?
I think that winning in every sport that you play, when it's competitive, you want to win. That's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day. And this group, we do understand that, the history of what has been and what we're facing, the hill that we're going against. But I feel like everybody knows in this team that we have the talent to get the job done. And it's just up to us. Nobody really believes in us. Nobody really thinks that we're going to turn it around. It's just us to believe that we can do it and go out there and earn our respect every single week.
So looking ahead, what's your first impressions of Chris Jones? Obviously, you've played against him for 4 years, but kind of what's your impressions of him and the coaching staff, and what do you think is going to allow your team to excel as you move forward?
I think he's an experienced coach. You know what it takes to win. You're a lot of coaches when you're around the league, but once you get to play with them, you kind of see a different side of them, which is a good thing for me because then I got to experience it and then now understand more that he's a competitor, number one, and he wants to win at all costs. And that's kind of the mentality and the vision that he's trying to install to the whole team.
How much more comfortable are you now in the league, being year number 5 as a receiver? Because you come up here the first year and, like maybe you weren't used to the waggle or not, and, different guys on the field. How much more comfortable are you that you mentioned you wanted to change, but are you able, do you feel, to grab hold of that opportunity more than maybe you would have in year 1 or 2?
Most definitely. I felt like for me, it was just a lot of growth, kind of understanding the business side and understanding how this league works and kind of just on my footing. I feel like the situation I've been put in the past are right now reaping benefit because I was moved around a lot, playing different positions, which is something that allowed me to understand the CFL offense to a point where I can be anywhere on the field and just understand how the concept goes and what the quarterbacks are looking for.
Hergy Mayala joins us. Now, Hergy, when did you start playing football? How old were you?
I used to play basketball, but I really started playing football and committed to it when I was, I think, 13.
13 years. Now, were you always on the offensive side of the ball?
Nah, I started D-line. I played linebacker, and I really started playing receiver my senior year of high school, and that's kind of where everything took off.
And then you went to how many schools were recruiting you when you ultimately decided to go to Connecticut?
I was up to 5 schools that offered me, and then another 6 that was kind of showed me interest and wanted me to wait to sign. But I felt like at that point, UConn was the best situation, the best fit for me as to what I was looking for academically and my football career.
What did you take in school?
Communication.
Okay. So what was it about UConn or Connecticut that was better suited academically and football-wise compared to the other schools?
Connecticut for me, I was coming in with a coach, Coach Diaco at the time. Whenever I got recruited, he was coming in as second year head coach. So I knew that it was at least going to be there for 4 years, which is something that a lot of other schools that was recruiting me, coaches were getting fired and other different things. So I felt like UConn was a top 25 public school, and also I was going in with a coach that is young and that's going in. I'm his first recruiting class. So I felt confident making that decision, and it paid off for me so far.
So you mentioned you started football at 13, and which is normal. There's lots of guys. Some play Pop Warner, but there's lots of football players. Heck, some don't start playing until high school. When did you get the bug to say, hey, you know what? I think I'm actually pretty good, and this is something I could do?
That didn't come until, I'm not going to lie to you, until my last year that I played before going to prep school. Because before that, I used to just play basketball, and football was going to be like, I love it. I want to get better. But there was a lot of guys that was way ahead of me, like develop-wise.
Okay.
And now whenever I started like following what they were doing, that's kind of where I was getting a little bit more confidence each year. And then that senior year, which is everything clicked, everything fell in place. I was given opportunities, and I made the most out of them.
When you played basketball, how's your hops? Can you dunk?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Dunking is definitely a part of the game. I'm gonna say I'm a freak athlete, but I can definitely get up there. But I'm more of a, I'd probably say more of a layup guy.
More of a, but if you had to pull it out, like if you're playing right now and the receivers are playing a game of 1-on-1, who's winning?
Man, the only person that I can speak on is Gino. Me and Gino in Montreal, we played basketball together actually in the off season.
Okay.
And, he was pretty good. Gino got a really good shot, which I probably will give him the edge over everybody because he was able to knock down some shots, which you wouldn't expect him to make. So he probably will win just based on that.
Okay. Now, did he have any part, like when you're a free agent, did you talk to him about Edmonton? Did he have anything to do with you coming here?
Me and him talking on a regular basis. He's really one of those close friends that I had that I developed in this league. And just whenever I was going through the process, I kind of asked on his inside of what the organization was like, what the facility was like. And everything he said to me made a lot of sense and was good. And whenever I got the call from Giro and the guys, to me, it was just a no-brainer.
And I guess looking ahead to Montreal, this is, of course, your hometown, a team you played for. Something tells me maybe a little extra motivation, a little bit more excitement for you heading into this week.
I mean, definitely for me on a personal side, it's definitely a lot of motivation. Like you said, I was there and I'm no longer there, but I got to be, it's a team sport. It's going to be 11 other guys out there on the field and we're trying to get letters, not numbers. So I understand that. I just got to go out there and play my role. And if I do that pretty well, there's going to be some good things and hopefully come out with a win.
Who in the backfield are you expecting to chirp you the most in their defensive backfield?
Oh, man. I'm really close with all those guys. Like I said, I developed a great bond with a lot of guys on that team. And I don't think there's going to be any chirping, but definitely just some how you guys know and just some catching up between plays. And other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty clean game.
So you're not expecting, because sometimes friends play each other even harder because they're like, God, I don't want to lose.
I mean, the only person that might say something is probably Sean Lemon. Me and him kind of been going back and forth for a couple of years now. But other than that, it should be pretty clean for the rest of the guys.
It's almost like you might have some easy ammunition to use if you get into a war of words with him. So
right.
That might be easy. Well, Hergy, thanks so much for your time, man. Continued success, and hopefully you get more games with multiple touchdowns.
Thank you very much, you guys, for having me.
There you go. A member of the Elks, first game in the green and gold, 5th season in the league, and that's his third multiple TD game. He had 2 as a rookie with Calgary. He was, of course, a first-round selection, 8th overall by the Stampeders in 2019, then played 2 years for them, 2 years in Montreal. Comes to Edmonton, just feels like he wanted more of an opportunity. So first week, not bad. 6 targets, 5 receptions, and 2 touchdowns for Mayala. 417. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Struddy will join us next. We got Kevin Lowe, DVD, and more on a busy 5 questions as well. Busy Thursday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of Lower Bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
Take your bedroom to the next level this spring at the Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off major kitchen appliances and get free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca.
For over 65 years, Dedham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Dedham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at DedhamFord.ca.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Wendy's Small Frosty is the ultimate summer refreshment. And not because it's cool and creamy and made with fresh Canadian dairy. It's also refreshingly cheap, just 99 cents until July 14th. It's a treat for you and your wallet. Taxes extra at participating Wendy's.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Oh, we were talking about ABBA earlier yesterday when people were saying about how they waited in line. Yesterday's show, we were talking about waiting in line. And I think it was Steve or Eric who had waited in line to get tickets to ABBA. One of the highlights of their concert-going young career. So you don't wait in line anymore to get tickets nowadays. It's a different time. But if you could, I'm sure many of you would to get out there and say, hey, you never know. The Oilers will be looking for a win on Thursday. I would say that it's a must-win game. You go down 3-0. Yes, I know it's happened before. The Kings did it to the Sharks. The Flyers did it to the Bruins in 2010. It's happened here twice in the last 14 years, but not in the Stanley Cup final. It's a bit different beast. So we'll see. We'll get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. 0% lease right now on XC60 models from Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. Why? Because they're a 13-time award winner in excellence for service and sales. VolvoCarEdmonton.com. Stop in, ask for Jordy. He'll get you a fantastic deal and even better service. As we welcome to the show, Jason Strudwick. Struddy, how you doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm still salivating over the dinner we had on Saturday night. Chef Paul Schufelt, Jill and Cam had bid on that. We did that for Month of Giving, and we had booked it many months ago, and just happened to be for game one. But they had set up the TVs all around so we could watch it. But man, the food was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, Chef Paul, he's unbelievable. He breaks it down. You know what's going on. Like it's always a good time. The company, but the food is always just off the charts. It was incredible.
Quite good. The Oilers, they were quite good in game one. For the most part, not last night, but here's the thing, Struddy. It was still, despite not doing a lot, it was 1-1 after 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like they lost an opportunity. They kind of cracked first in the third.
Yeah, they did. You know, they come out, they get the goal, and kind of surprising goal, right? 5-hole by Matthias Ekholm. So I understand the G meant like rather him shoot than get it on Draisaitl stick, so he gives him the shot. Then they're going in the game, but it didn't feel like they were getting to the net. You know, they weren't penetrating, weren't able to get shots and or bodies to the net. So there wasn't a lot of pressure on Bobrovsky. And that can be good and bad if you're a goalie. But they just weren't getting there. And then, like you said, you know, they kind of cracked first, and they just never seemed to get the momentum, even though they had the lead. It was, I'd say at best, it was tied momentum when they were winning, and then they never kind of pushed and never were able to get over it. So that to me is what Florida does. When I saw Florida and watched them play in the regular season, and specifically in the Rangers series, that's what they do. Sticks in the lanes, hard to get to their net, heavy forecheck, hanging on to pucks, getting bodies and pucks to the net, like just very straightforward hockey. And they got a little bit lucky. Like, you know, Mikola's goal was I'd say that was fairly lucky, but from not a known goal scorer, but still he's in the right place, gets up in the play and lets one rip on a standing up puck.
Yeah, no, they, it kind of got a little bit lucky, but whatever. It went in, and then the Bouchard play in the third period obviously was a backbreaker for the Edmonton Oilers. He's been great in the playoffs, but that came at a time. It was interesting. Pierre Maguire talked about it. He had played a load minutes, right? Like he played over 30 minutes, and he was in the penalty box twice, right? Like obviously, I know that's because of the Darnell Nurse injury, but do they have to monitor it like? You know what, you've talked about it before. Like there's a difference. You get up to 16 minutes and all of a sudden you got to play 20. You're like, oh my God, I feel it. Right. So he's used to playing 25, but now you're up to 30. That could be a difference.
Let's just talk about the type of hockey it is. I mean, it's every shift matters. Like the games are so tight that, every play, every decision you make or don't make is going to be reflected in what happens in the game. So it's impressive. Like, I think we have to just step back and look and say, what is he evolving into? Where was he a year ago? Where was he a year before that? And he's evolving in front of our eyes to being, a top pairing defenseman and probably number one defenseman, right? It's pretty incredible what he's done. So he's evolving and every play matters. And even if you go back on that one where you're talking about where it's touched to Bouchard touched it up, McLeod gets the puck near the blue line.
Yeah.
And it's a play that he'd like to have back. And that's, this is something that the plays at the blue line, you need to be sure of them. Right. And this is not to beat up McLeod, but there were other times where they're just making sure of that puck, getting it out, getting it in. And it sounds really boring, but it makes a difference. And because it gave another opportunity to the Florida Panthers. And unfortunately, a lot of times that other opportunity turns into what we saw there. Now, Bouchard kind of wears the horns on that one. But I go back to earlier with McLeod. He had complete control of the puck, doesn't get it out. Bouchard looks bad, 10, 15 seconds later.
Yeah, no, and it was... Yeah, like I look at, and that's where it comes, every shift, every moment matters in the Stanley Cup Finals, and you don't know when that error is going to cost you. Not everyone does, but that one did, and so now they head home, Struds. And to me, I look at this pretty simple for the Edmonton Oilers. If you're going to win, I just start in Game 3 because you can't. The series is way too long to look at. There'd be a loser mentality because you can't win the series if you don't win Game 3. Is the way I look at it. So they got to win Game 3, and they got to win with their best players being their best players in the league. They got 1 goal in 2 games. And you're not going to win any game, physically impossible when you're averaging a half a goal per game. It's impossible to win. So they got to get going. They're big guys. That's their main guys. That's what carries their team at times, like most teams, right? They need their big guys here. I don't know. To me, it might be too simple, but McDavid, Draisaitl, they have to be at the head of the snake. And then Hyman and Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins, Ekholm right behind them.
The leading shot getter was Kulak last night. Now, others had more shots, but they didn't all get to the net. So that's not ideal. And let's credit Florida. They are doing a good job on those big guys. But it doesn't mean that you can't, try to push through and find another way. So what I would say is this is what I would do. I'd break it down to 10-minute segments. Let's win the first 10 minutes and the second 10 minutes. It doesn't even mean the scoreboard, but just win like that momentum and feel like you're taking to them. They did that. We saw that in the first game. So make it more manageable because you're right. You can't think about winning the whole series in Game 3. You can think about winning 10 minutes, the second 10 minutes, and get going there. So that's where I'd start if I was Knob Block. Break it down to small, manageable pieces. Now you move on to the players. If you're not in the top 6, your job is to get in and forecheck like crazy and get your feet moving, get in on them. And I thought they did a better job in that Game 1 than Game 2. They can do better. I'd probably put Perry in the lineup. I think Perry is better at where this game's kind of gone. It looks like it's going to be kind of the walls and in front of the net, not surprisingly. Stanley Cup final, that happens. And then my top 6, I'm not sure how I'm going to configure that. Probably going to change up the lineups what they had last time or last night. But I'm going to get those guys going and just give them opportunities to get going, understand they're going to play. But everyone's going to play, and we need goals. We need score, and we need more shots. I think that it's hard to criticize some of the top players in the league. You can't look off shots, especially when people are going to the net. And that's Bouchard, that's Connor, that's Leon, all the guys. If Hyman or someone's going to the net, get the puck to the net. Let's try to get some more ugly ones. Because what they're doing so far has only produced 1 goal from a D-man off the rush.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like they've looked off way too many good looks. Could the puck on net and by putting the puck on net, get more bodies there. Now, the problem is they don't necessarily have a lot of guys that do it. Now, you mentioned that Perry would come in. So who are you taking out?
Well, that's where the problem comes in, right? Because I
actually like Sam Carrick. I thought he won a lot of puck battles last night.
He did. He battled. I mean, someone's got to. So maybe you move Brown up to this second line. Does Fogle come out? Does McLeod come out? You like their speed. Janmark's not coming out, so that's kind of the problem. But I double down on my viewpoint. I think it's a heavy game and going to the net. Even throw Draisaitl back on with or Perry back up with Draisaitl, right? To try to get that ground and pound game that is. It looks like that's what this series is all about, and that's what it is. So, I'm not sure they can go back to what they did the previous. What was it? Holloway and Perry and Draisaitl. But you need some speed with Perry on the opposite side. So maybe it's Holloway again. But I think it will maybe be surprised by the lines. Because they need to change it. They need to find a way to ground and pound because that's what is happening in the offensive zone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. What about on the back end? Like, what would Nurse have to show you in order to play him next game?
Well, I don't know. It feels like it's a hit pointer.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what I thought.
And so a hit pointer to me, I've had them before. They're not fun. They're bruises. So generally speaking, you can ice it and then. Take some Tylenol or something to take the edge off, right? Then he can play. So, but it didn't seem like they could do it last night, which I thought was kind of weird. So maybe it's something more. Is it a lower rib? I really don't know. But I mean, he's got to be able to skate. If he can't move, it's a pretty hard game. And if you can't, battle and hit. So I was really surprised he wasn't going to play. And actually, it's quite concerning when you kind of look at it that way.
Well, like Now, it's the Stanley Cup final, so it's different. Usually, if a guy's got a nagging injury like that, he just goes to the room and he's done for the night in the regular season. I get it. It's the Stanley Cup final. 'Cause I haven't seen a guy sit for that long. Then you try a shift, and you sit for a long time. Then you try another. Like I'm trying to think, like what were they doing to try to make it so you could play one shift? Like it was very odd.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard to play like that. You know, I've played replay every 10, 15 minutes. It's really hard. I think what they said is you're done. And he's like, no, I'm not done. I want to stay out there and try to play.
Okay.
Because you're right. If you know, I'm just guessing, but usually a chain of command is you take a look at it with the trainer maybe consults the doctor, the trainer consults the coach, and then yes, he can play, no, he can't play. So, you know, why would they want him on the bench not getting treatment if if they don't think he can play, if they think he can play, he'd just start playing again. So
Right.
I'm just guessing here. That's just in my experience. Like, if they don't want you to play, they're not going to play you, but because they want to get you treatment inside, but he didn't want to go off.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what, what it is like. And if he is going to play, like they've already got Kane playing banged up, right? Do you think, like, is Kane at the point where maybe you just give him a night off and you play Corey Perry and you just rest Kane and maybe an extra 72 hours helps him? Or sorry, I guess
that might be the way. Well, the problem is that you're running out of, like real estate here, right? To rest guys.
I agree.
So it's all hands on deck. Now, does a couple day off help him? Maybe, he has a little bit of gamesmanship in there, but he's not getting a lot of shots. You can look at his stat line; it was pretty thin, and it seems like he's not like he should be. So maybe that's the guy you put in there, and Kane comes out, but that's probably a pretty hard conversation to have with Kane. So they've got some hard decisions here, right? I think number one is identify who you want to play and can they play, and then figure out what is your goal? What do you want to have, produce from this line of 4 players or four lines? Because I just feel, man, it's a heavy game. They got to get, you can see Florida sticks in the lanes, kind of that 5 on the die. They're not letting others get in the middle. You have to get to middle of the ice with pucks, with bodies, make it hard. And if you see a line to the net, you've got to shoot it, trusting that someone's going to net. And that includes, the D-men right through to the forwards. It's just hard. And then maybe that unlocks something, right? Unlocks Bobrovsky. And now the goals start coming a little bit easier, like we've seen Oilers score in the past. But right now, it's not working. But it's a handful of shots isn't going to win the series.
No, God, no. They gotta get more to the net. Now the thing is, I saw it in game 1. We saw their speed, right? And Florida, I thought, did a good job of limiting Edmonton quick transitions out of their zone, right? That was the one thing I noticed last game. Edmonton was unable to transition the puck very quickly at all.
Yeah, and Florida's doing a good job of getting above that puck, and they're relentless, and their sticks. I go on, their sticks are always, you saw it a few times, Leon trying to throw it, cross in the neutral zone. That's a really hard play to make when you're standing still, when Florida has their sticks all over the lane. So, sometimes you got to just make the game fairly simple. Doesn't mean unskilled, but let's get play in their end, and we might have to win this thing 1-0, right? Get in there and grind it out, get it in their zone, play it hard in their zone, and I think that's kind of where the game's at right now for them to unlock. You got to unlock something, and maybe that helps unlock your regular game by kind of beating them at that game that they're trying to limit you at.
Struddy, what did you make of the Draisaitl hit on Barkov?
Well, it was a flying elbow, right? There's no doubt about it. I didn't like that it was called. I don't think that linesmen are allowed to call a 2-minute minor. So if the rest didn't see it at the get-go, the linesman come in and said, well, we saw it. But yeah, I don't think they're allowed to call that. So I didn't like that call. I think it was the call. Now, this could be a huge swing. I don't know if there's an update today.
No, they're saying there's nothing coming.
Nothing.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no more supplemental discipline.
Okay. No, but as far as Barkov able to play?
Yeah, well, yeah, what's his name? Their head coach. And honestly, I saw the hit. And I said, there's no chance he's not ready in 3 days. And today they came out and was like, you know what? We feel that he is trending to be a player, quote, available for us.
Yeah. That could be a big turning point, obviously. But listen, I think that Thursday the Oilers are going to come out and throw everything they got at this group. We've seen them battle back. We heard the quotes from Connor McDavid. I look forward to everyone doubting us, and they've been through it. But this is a good team that's battle tested. But I think they're going to come out and they're going to bring their best, because Stu had a good game. I thought Stu had a good game, especially early. This is a big game on Thursday night for sure.
Oh, well, to me, I would view it as a must win for the Oilers.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's to me, there's no, you can't go down 3-0.
No.
And like I know that mathematically they're not out. I just don't view it. And historically, actually, I went through all the teams that lose that have been down 2-0 at home ice. Obviously, the Penguins came back. The Bruins came back. Quite a few other teams came back to win game 3. I think there's actually only 2 of the 13 who didn't. So the odds of them winning are actually in their favor. It's can they win game 4 and beyond, right? So that I know you can only focus one game at a time. And I think Edmonton, game 1 was one they probably wish they'd have a better outcome. They played well. Game 2 wasn't good enough. What about home ice advantage? What differences do you think Knobloch's going to make with the last change?
Well, maybe try to find some. Obviously, the icings are easy, but that's a low-hanging fruit. Maybe try to tuck Connor into other lines, right? Try to hide him in there in different lines, and maybe go with 7D. I don't love it, especially if you're not sure of the status of Nerf. And then you play Connor and Leon in different situations, or Nuge, to kind of beef up those other lines. But you've got to trust that your best players can beat the other team's best players.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell Connor that or Leon. Those guys know it, but they need those guys to take them on and to beat them. And quite honestly, it's not like Barkov and those guys are beating them; they're stopping them. And it's guys like Rodriguez that are beating them with those goals, or like a 6th defenseman, or I guess a 4th defenseman. But still, those are the ones right now that support group is scoring, not necessarily their big guns.
Yeah, Struddy, have yourself a good one, and we will chat with you next week, and we'll see where the Oilers are at. That would be a Game 5 preview next Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good, buddy.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick joining us every Tuesday here on Sports 1440. And honestly, like I understand there's lots of pressure on your best players, but that's the reality here. And McDavid and Draisaitl have a long track record, regular season and postseason, of showing up big time. They've played other good players. Florida, very formidable foe. There's no debating that. They're good. But if you want to win the cup, then you got to be better. And it really comes down to it. 97-29. They got to lead the charge offensively. And then Zach Hyman, who's he's got 14 goals in the postseason, but none so far. I know it's only 2 games, but everything gets magnified when you're in the Stanley Cup final. Like 3, 4, 5 games without a goal, not a big deal, except if it's in the cup final. So, you know what? They're big guns. They got to be ready. They got to have a lot of bullets in the chamber and use them all on Thursday. And then they got to reload and be ready again on Saturday. Because this is now, if you even it up, then you can exhale, can feel good about yourself going back to Florida. But you know what? The Thursday game, is massive for this team. I expect the crowd to be absolutely fired up. How can you not? It's a Stanley Cup final game. For some people in the building, it'll be their first time in a Stanley Cup final game. Been 18 years since you've been in one. I remember how loud it was after the Oilers were down 2-0 in Carolina. It was definite, although Game 6 was louder. Anybody who was in the building will know. Game 3, super loud. 4 was loud, but Carolina won. But then Game 6, when they came back after the Pisani shorthanded overtime winner in 5, they absolutely crushed Carolina in Game 6. And I was looking at games here, and it's funny how momentum, there's really no carryover. You go back, I was using the 2 teams who came back and won from down 2-0. Pittsburgh was down. They lost 3-1 both games. Then they go home. Malkin has a big Game 3. Crosby has a big Game 4. They're evened up. Then they go back to Detroit and get spanked 5-0. And you're thinking, oh, they're done. They come home. They hold serve. It's a homer series. They win Game 6, 2-1. Tyler Kennedy had a goal and assist in that game for the Penguins. Then now you're going to Detroit, where you've scored a total of 2 goals in 3 games. Max Talbot scores 2 goals in the second period, and they win that game 2-1. Hoist the cup, beating the defending champs in their own rink. Right? Then you fast forward 2 more years later to the Bruins. Right? The Bruins lose the first 2 games, albeit super close. Remember, Rafi Torres scored with 19 seconds left in Game 1 to win 1-0. Then they lose in overtime. The Bruins had a lead, like the Oilers, blew it, lost in overtime in Game 2. And the Bruins were the second highest scoring team in the postseason. The Vancouver Canucks had allowed the fewest goals all season. And then all hell broke loose. You come back to Boston. They win 8-1 in game 3. They win 4-0 in game 4. They're feeling good about themselves. Back across the country. Game 5, shut out again. So the Bruins have been shut out twice. They've got, just like the Penguins, 2 years later, they scored 2 goals in 3 road games in the Stanley Cup final. They got to come back for game 6. They get a win 5-2. They actually chase Luongo. He gives up 3 goals on 8 shots in the first 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Chase Luongo. So now you got to go all the way back to Vancouver, where you have scored 2 goals in 3 games. And guess what? Marchand, Bergeron each had a pair. Marchand into an empty netter, and they win. Tim Thomas was great in that game. But you know what? You tied up, everything's good, and then you go on the road, and both of them got shut out in game 5. Crazy. So momentum's really not a thing. The Oilers, to me, I look at how that Pittsburgh series went. Their superstars in game 3 and 4 took over. And I look at Edmonton, they got superstars. They have a rookie head coach just like Pittsburgh did. It's possible. And trust me, is Florida that much better than Detroit Red Wings in 2009? I don't think so. That's a really good team, defending champs. So, you know what? The Oilers, their big guys got to show up starting Thursday. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Let's go, Oilers.
You know, we have to keep going, and we got 4 more wins to go here. So we'll enjoy this one tonight for sure, but get back to work.
This is Sports 1440.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small iced coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes flavored iced coffee and delivery.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers, and that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today. Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Cruise through summer with a sleek new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Explore the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada,
including the dynamic Outlander PHEV and the sporty Eclipse Cross.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you'll get 0% financing on all our 2024 models, including the RVR and Mirage.
Plus, every Mitsubishi comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer powertrain limited warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape, only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed. Payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. How are you? As we continue on, the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, Lotto Max Tuesday, $50 million up for grabs, as well as 2 Lotto Max. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. We get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where, hey, saving you more, that's what they do, man. You can get up to 40% off of a bedroom furniture and mattresses, and get free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. So spend $500, you get free delivery and 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Pretty much a win-win at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, we'll say putting health concerns out of there. Any lineup adjustments or even game adjustments you see going into the Oilers' strategy here for Game 3 in Edmonton?
Wow. I don't know how in-depth of a strategy is, but shoot the puck when you're in a good shooting lane. Or shoot the pad. I don't care. But don't try to pass it into the net. Stop it. It's not working. You have 1 goal in 2 games. So put pucks on net would be the most simple thing I would say for the Oilers.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, just simple, right? I'm with you on that one. Even if it is into the pad, you get a rebound, maybe you get a tap in, maybe it goes off the opposing team's skate. Anything to find a way to beat Bobrovsky. You got to find a way to do it. Question 2 for you. What has been the most discouraging part about the Oilers game through these first 2 games of the Stanley Cup final?
Well, I like game 1 for a lot of parts. I just, you know what? To me, the most discouraging has been probably their power play. I don't think they're like up until their last power play where they hit a few goalposts. I don't think they really got many great looks. So they've seen lots of different penalty kills. And of course, people like to pressure you. So you know what? Stop trying to overpass it. Don't think you're going to get fancy on them. So to me, I would say right now it's been their power play.
Yeah, I would agree to a certain extent as well. And then I also say just that the big time players, you've got 50 goal scorers in this lineup and you need them to step up at a certain point. So just the big time players on the biggest stage so far, not being able to produce where it matters. I think that would be the most discouraging part for me. Question number 3 for you, Gregor. The Toronto Blue Jays, we're heading into trade deadline talk season. If you were to make any trades, I guess as I say, would you? And who do you think would be up for grabs?
Oh gosh, where they're at, it all depends. Like, I don't know if the Jays are at a point where, you're giving away somebody that, is for a bunch of prospects, right? Like, I'm not sure that helps you. You might, you want to make a deal. Hey, if you could get 2 young prospects, then sure, for one guy, go right ahead. Like, and when I say younger, but guys who are ready to play, I think the Jays will. I saw, hey, where's Calvin Bijou? Calvin Bijou got sent to the minors, people. Like, let's be real here. How much is he getting you? Right? They got to decide, do they want to make a big play and move one of their starting pitchers? But, or do they move, one of their core guys? it's a question to ask because what they have isn't winning.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a lot. The Jays, to me, just kind of mediocrity. That seems where they are. You go into the playoffs, make the wild card. Doesn't do much. You know, you're in this thing to win it, right? So we've seen some of these other teams, the Orioles in the past, the Houston Astros, really just blow it up and try to trade away everything, have a terrible couple seasons, and then hope that you're drafting and their prospects really start to pan out. I'd love to see that. I know the Jays have tried to, pick up big names here and there, but it's just not working. They're not competitive night in, night out, and I'd like to see them make a change. So honestly, if I'm running the show there, any name, if you give me an offer that I have to accept or, want to make here, anyone's up for grabs, whether that's going to be Bo Bichette, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., whoever it might be, George Springer, you want him? I'm listening to all the phone calls that might come in.
You're open for business is what you're saying.
I'm blowing it up if I have to. Absolutely. But we'll see if that actually happens. Question number 4. So according to a report from the New York Post, Joey Jaws Chestnut, didn't know that was his nickname, will not participate in Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th. This is because Chestnut signed an endorsement deal with a rival company, Impossible Foods, which specializes in vegan hot dogs. Are you team Chestnut or are you team Nathan's hot dogs on this one?
So the longtime hot dog champ opted to go and chase the money with vegan.
Seems like it, yeah.
Sorry, Joey. I'm out. That basically what got you to the dance for many years. And I heard just an appearance fee. Do you see how much he was getting? The guy was going to make $1.5 million the next 4 years just to show up. Not even a win. Just to show up for eating hot dogs. What the hell is going on? So sorry, Joey. I'm going. I'm not going with the vegan on this one. I can't do it. I'm not anti-vegan. I'm not an anti-dentite. I'm not an anti-veganite. I just think this is a bad decision. So sorry, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, the cachet of the event probably won't be. It's like football, right, Gregor? The event is bigger than the individuals. We saw Peyton Manning retire, Tom Brady. We still love football. We're still going to love Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Are we though?
I think it's time for someone else. Since 2007, he's only lost once.
Okay.
Or I guess there's only been another winner. Matt Stoney won in 2015.
I don't know. You're talking to the I think this is the worst example of gluttony ever. I'm just why? Why is this a skill set that anybody would remotely find good? I don't see it. It's just you gorge yourself because now I don't know the insights, but I'm assuming when you eat 72 hot dogs or whatever he's eating, you're just throwing them all up. Right? There's no chance that you can keep all that in you. There's no way. So I don't know. You couldn't honestly, I'd have to lose a big bet to watch that event. Under events that I would never watch, that and reality TV. They're even par stupidity for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still watch it in the background. I'm not going to lie. I don't get too into it.
I know you love it. That's
know.
fine. Everybody has different, whatever strokes your boat. For me, can't do it.
I love the drama. Question number 5. It is Peter Dinklage's birthday today. Of course.
The imp.
Yes, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. So who is your favorite and least favorite characters from the epic drama Game of Thrones?
Oh, you go first.
All right. For me, favorite... kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to go Arya Stark.
Yeah.
Really liked her development. Kind of didn't want to be the traditional princess in the family. Wanted to branch out and do something else. Close with Jon Snow, sorry. As for most disliked characters, there's so many. That's what that show did such a good job of making you absolutely just hate certain characters.
Yeah.
I think I will go with the young king.
Oh, Joffrey?
Joffrey was...
He was great.
He was, great acting, well written as a character, but could not stand him. Some of my... I won't say any spoilers, but yes, Joffrey's got to be the worst.
Spoilers, dude. If you haven't watched the show now, I'm sorry. The spoilers passed. Man, there's a lot that... I'd probably go with Peter Baelish. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Right, kind of scheming. He didn't really when you look at Joffrey was, at least I could see why, but I'm okay, but you know what? He played the character great, everything about him. Ramsay Bolton, God, he was a ruthless POS. So I couldn't hate him, but I'm going with Peter Baelish. I just did nothing about him intrigued me. As far as my favorite, there's I'm probably in the minority here, but I'm going with because now obviously I liked Arya, but Cersei Lannister, I thought she was great. I thought she was ruthless at times, so I will go with her.
Kind of respected how she handled her business.
Yep.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Also,
so,
like
there's a lot. Like, hey, I get why people like Jon Snow. I understand.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots to like for sure. The Mountain, right? Obviously, I'm a soft spot. I saw the Mountain. Other than that, I looked like a little toy standing beside him. But still, he was a good dude.
Daenerys was great.
Oh yeah. Hey, guess what's coming out on Sunday?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, season 2. I'm gonna have to rewatch, I think, the last few episodes of season 1 just to refresh my memory. But man, I love that type of show, man. That genre. I get some people don't like the sci-fi stuff and all that. That's okay. But I'm a big fan of it. So, I will say, like House of Dragon, you really got to pay attention. Like, where are they from? They kind of bounce around a little bit, so you got to pay attention, which is fine. So
I was looking at family trees.
Oh,
I was like, I got to follow who are these people? What's
okay.
the relation? And then you're right,
Yeah.
they do bounce ahead a decade or two. Great show though.
Yeah, I like it. 5:00 when we come back, Kevin Lowe will join us, filling in for Spec. A bit of an upgrade there. And hey, we'll talk about the 84. Kevin Lowe's been in this situation before, down 2-0 in the Stanley Cup final. Goes through your mind. We'll find out next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. But first, a comment, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance. 10 years, started right here in Edmonton. They've expanded nationally, keep growing, but never forget your roots. And they love supporting local Edmonton and area businesses. HighStreetInsurance.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Sam Carrick has been fined for slashing Panthers defenseman Dmitry Kulikov late in the Oilers 4-1 loss to the Panthers in Game 2. Fine is $2,213.54, the maximum allowed under the collective bargaining agreement. Oilers, of course, back in action on Thursday, taking on the Panthers, of course, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The NBA Finals gets going again tomorrow, Game 3, with the Mavericks taking on the Celtics, Boston up 2-0 in that one. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays kicking off series with the Brewers. That one gets going just after 6:00. You'll also have the Guardians taking on the Reds. Mets host the Marlins, Phillies in Boston. Twins host the Rockies. Pirates travel to St. Louis. Dodgers host the Rangers. Astros in San Francisco, and the Mariners taking on the White Sox. 3 games underway, all scoreless. Orioles, Braves, Nationals, Tigers, and Rays, Cubs. The Edmonton Riverhawks taking on Kelowna once again. That'll get going at 7:05 here in the city in the WNBA. We've got 3 games tonight in the Commissioner's Cup. Dream Mystics, the Lynx in Vegas, and the Sparks travel to Seattle to take on the Storm. According to reports, Canadian striker Jonathan David could be on the radar of Manchester United of the English Premier League. ESPN's Rob Dawson noted that David is of particular interest because he's headed into the final year of his contract, which could be reflected in a lower transfer fee. Internationally, David has scored 26 goals in 48 appearances for Canada. And in the golf world, John Rahm is withdrawing from the U.S. Open due to an infection in his left foot. The 29-year-old Rahm had to withdraw from a live event earlier in Houston this week, following the concern. While speaking with reporters, the Open gets going this Thursday in North Carolina. Coming up in Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Hockey Hall of Famer Kevin Lowe, as well as Derek Van Dies from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Legacy Heating and Cooling Jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nude. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Take your bedroom to the next level.
Welcome back,
Right
Howard.
at the Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals, and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off major kitchen appliances.
We are rolling right
Free
along,
delivery
Jason
on
Gregor.
purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds. Recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. The base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to gregor@sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson, and our team here is so hyped about being in the finals and ending the Canadian drought that we're giving away a free air conditioner when Edmonton brings home the cup. So enter now, weissjohnson.com. Hit the Contact Us button, tell us who your favorite Edmonton player is, and you'll be entered to win a brand new air conditioner minus installation. Our family cheering loud and proud since 1977. We want the cup!
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape for only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed, payments cut in half, and with 3 license appraisals on
CA. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Get in the game at playalberta.ca. Not only can you get your tickets for tonight's Lotto Max, $50 million. Also use the promo code Gregor50 and you'll get a free $50 play with a minimum $5 to purchase on NBA, NHL, CFL, and more at playalberta.ca. Oilers back in town. They will get a good night's rest today. They'll be back on the ice tomorrow, getting set for Thursday's Game 3, the first Stanley Cup final game in Edmonton in 18 years. There'll be the free concert at 4 o'clock, Our Lady Peace, for those of you who are going down. Of course, they'll have the viewing parties outside. Lots of places to have fun with on Thursday, so should be good. And the atmosphere in the building will be outstanding for sure. Now, let's get to the Speckless Report, brought to you by GS Construction, as they just celebrated 50 years, and they just keep moving forward. New opportunities for them, but also for you, because they're hiring. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction, whether you're just a beginner, you're young, just getting in the workforce, or you got lots of experience, want to be a top foreman, top hand, whether you're male or female, they got lots of opportunities. Check it out at Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. And we're joined now by a Hockey Hall of Famer, 6-time Stanley Cup champion, Kevin Lowe. Joins us. Kevin, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Greg. Yep. Anxious to hear what you have to say.
Well, I will see. You know what? I'm curious. You were in this situation way back in 1983. You guys, first time in the Stanley Cup Finals. You had a very good season. You know what? You played the Islanders. Now the Panthers aren't the Islanders. They hadn't won 3 in a row prior. They lost. They were in the Cup Final though the year before. You come back. You're down 2-0, Kevin, and I'm sure it's difficult because you feel like you're so close to when the Stanley Cup starts to your dream, and then boom, you lose 2 games. How do you get back on track and not let it overwhelm you?
Well, the biggest difference between 83 and now is, the Islanders were 4-time Stanley Cup champions, and, the Florida haven't won a championship yet. And also, we played those first 2 games at home and had to go in for games 3 and 4 on the island where we'd never won before. So fairly daunting. We still believed going in that we could win. I think every athlete does, regardless of how it looks to everyone else. But, relative to the Oilers, they just got to win a game on Thursday night. It turned it into a 2-1 series and then game on. And they're more than equipped to do it. I think it was unfortunate what happened in game 1. They played well, and then they got a little careless. They took some badly timed penalties, are the ones that are just, even though Florida didn't score they scored on the one on Leon's right at the very end. But what it does is it allows them time to play with the puck and no time for the Oilers to play with the puck. So I just like the Bouchard's 2 penalties were just the things you don't do. You cannot do any time, and particularly in the Stanley Cup playoffs and particularly in the finals. And I'm not to pick on Bush because he's played unbelievable for us. And if the Oilers are going to win, we need him a lot. But it's just an example of you cannot be doing those things. I mean, he knocks, he actually knocks Tkachuk down, and then Tkachuk kind of gets up and does his thing, and Bush should have been happy and just skated away, but he gives him an elbow and gets a stupid penalty, and it just allows Florida some time to play. So, those are the kind of things that you clean up on. They're going to have to find a way to get to Bobrovsky, but the more they play with the puck, the more that's apt to happen.
A lot. It's the old adage sometimes, get pucks to the net, get traffic in front of the net. And I know everybody says it, but it's harder than that sometimes, right? Some teams are good at boxing you out, and some teams don't necessarily have guys who historically just go to the net and crash the net all the time. So in your experience, you played that long, you played with lots of different teams and lots of different players. Do you buy into that, or is it more the Oilers just like they got to stop passing up good shooting opportunities and just shoot the puck?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I mean, the best team I ever saw was the Red Wings, and in Yzerman, Shanahan, Datsuk area. I mean, they used to be unbelievable. Shanahan would shoot it from everywhere. He'd shoot it from the goal line, and the Red Wings would pile up 55 shots, and you felt you're getting outplayed because of the shot number, but the reality is they weren't dangerous shots. But I think Rogers Place will be a big difference because now the Panthers, they're going to be on a little bit nervous, even though they're up 2-0, they don't want to lose that game. And any momentum we can gain, the fans are unbelievable at the Rogers Place. And I think that really pumps up the players, and they makes it a little bit easier to play. And every shot they take, they cheer and what it does is it's the optics for the opposition to think, holy shit, we're getting outplayed here. When the reality is it's just, maybe the shots are, 7-5 or something, but with the fans cheering the way they do, it really, we used to go into buildings on the road in the playoffs, and the one thing we said is we got to quiet the crowd down early. And usually it was get in on a good forecheck, cycle a puck, keep it down low, and don't let the opposition any chance to sort of get the crowd fired up. Now, Rogers Place crowd, the Oilers fans, they're fired up all the time. So it's hard to do unless Florida completely dominates us early in the first period, which I doubt will happen.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Kevin, because it reminds me of Game 3 against Dallas, right? Dallas came out, they scored 2 goals in the first 5 minutes, and that's the quietest I've heard the building, all year long, right? And now it didn't last very long, but for 3 or 4 minutes, you're just like, oh my goodness, it is quiet in here. And then the Oilers, to their credit, they came back and they ended up winning that game 5-2. But, there was an example of for a brief time, they did take the crowd out of the game. Now, maybe if you're in a market that's not a diehard hockey crazy market, maybe they don't get as amped up as the crowd does. And so how do you, if you're Edmonton and when you're down 2-0, Kevin, everybody knows the seriousness of the situation. It is only one game. You can't win the series on Thursday. You want to win one game. How do you ensure that you don't get too hyped up for that? Like, what has to happen so they come out ready to rumble rather than come out and are a little bit flat because they're too amped up?
Well, if it was me, I would start by, grilling into them, the basic rules of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And, initiate, don't retaliate. Get pucks deep, play in their end. They're more apt to take a penalty and obviously get shots on net if you can, but you want to play in their end as long as they can. You can rather, because you're going to force them to take penalties. No turnovers. Those are all those were our rules in our day. Finish your checks. And I don't think we have some guys finishing their checks, but there's no reason why, even Connor and Leon don't finish checks. Like if they're out there playing against Forsling and Ekblad, why wouldn't they be finishing those guys off every opportunity they can to make them feel the sort of kind of pain that those guys try to set on our guys. So I remember a couple of years ago in LA when Connor came out that one game and he ran over someone in the first shift and the Oilers were off to the races. I don't want to turn Connor into Zach Stortini, but it's just like, it's a process. You got to wear them down. That's what Florida does. They try to wear you down. So there's no reason why our team can't, even though we're, basically a more offensive team. That's the commitment to winning. It's you start with everyone committing, not taking penalties, finishing your checks, and then good things happen.
Kevin Lowe joins us there on Sports 1440. Kevin, right after the game, I like Connor McDavid's attitude. He says, hey, this is an opportunity. I'm excited to see how our team shows up against adversity. Now, they faced a lot of adversity. They were down early in the season. They were down at the end of November, right? They're down to Dallas. They're down to Vancouver. But it is the Stanley Cup final. Now, how do you ensure that you don't, remind yourself it's a Stanley Cup final? Or is that virtually impossible, right? Like coming back in November and December is different than coming back in the Stanley Cup final. But what did you make of his comments? I'm excited to see how our team comes out and reacts. Is that like the leadership way of challenging your team?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know his complete motivation, but I loved it. I think it's really a product of they really believe they can win, even though they're down 2-0.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I concur with them. Like I think they can come back. I think they can beat this team. The only problem they have right now is that Florida really believe they're a team of destiny. And so in order for the Oilers to break that of them, they've got to really, they got themselves in a bit of a pickle now. They're down 2-0, so they have a lot less wiggle room. Like game one, where they completely outplayed them and they lost the game. Typically you rebound and win game two, and then it's you're off to the races. But I don't see any reason why the Oilers can't beat Florida in this series, even though they got to win 4 of the next 5 games. But again, if it starts on Thursday night, and that goes a long way to building up the Oilers' confidence, eliminating or adding a little bit of doubt into Florida. And these guys won't. Florida, they really appear confident. They appear confident in their game plan. They've had success with it all season. Their defense first, finish their checks, and over the time they feel they wear teams down, and teams are going to make a mistake, and they're going to win. They've got guys to capitalize and win the game. But the Oilers got to be, they got to be spot on the discipline. And hey, it's always nice if you can have a little luck and get a stinker on Bobrovsky, but they don't need that. They can win by just playing good old-fashioned hard hockey.
Kevin, 1 goal in 2 games. Hey, when you average a half goal a game, it's impossible to win. Is it too simple to look? And I know there's lots of pressure. And I'm not putting extra pressure on it, but hey, you're one of the key guys in the blue line. When you win in the playoffs, depth you definitely need it at times. But ultimately, it's your key guys that have to lead you. And, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, they have no goals in 2 games of the Stanley Cup final. Normally, no goals in 2 games isn't much, but it's a Stanley Cup final. Is it too simple to just say, you know what, a lot of this rests on the shoulders of the best players. That's what they're there for. That they want that pressure. And you kind of see how they adapt to it. Is it too simple to say, the Oilers really, they go into this game 3 and they have to be led by their superstars if they want to win?
No, I don't think they do, to be honest, Jason. I mean, the same thing can be said for Kachuk, for Barkov, for Reinhart. I don't even think Hergy has a goal. I could be wrong, but
no, he scored the first one. Yeah.
Okay, none of their guys have goals. So but I mean, obviously, when your team's not winning, that's what people look at. But rest assured, Connor and Leon and Zach are going to have a heck of a game on Thursday night. I mean, I've said this before, publicly, about Wayne. He went to the 83 finals without scoring against the Islanders, and the 84 finals, he didn't score till the 5th game. Now, of course, we were scoring a ton of goals, so it didn't really matter. But, I mean, it happens to the best players in the world. So if you're going to be a good team, if you're going to be a winning team, you're going to need some other guys to chip in. But first and foremost, just play an overall strong game. Use the fans to your advantage. And hey, I mean, let's face it. They had 3 posts the last game. One of those goes in, and it's a different story. The game's 2-1 with 10 minutes left in the 3rd period, and then and Leon got a little overzealous, and I don't think he meant to do it, of course, but he took a penalty, and then finally Florida scored, and then it appeared to be game over. But the Oilers are right there. They just got to eliminate some of the mistakes, like I talked about. No needless penalties, and it's going to turn around.
Kevin, you had a reputation of being able to play through a lot of pain. Where is the line on how you knew you could play? Like, is it just as simple as saying, I know I can still contribute, rather than be a detriment to the team? Like, how do you find that line to know, where a guy like, okay, yeah, he's not 100%, but he's still adding enough, so we got to keep him in the lineup? Yeah, well, it's the pain factor first and foremost. I mean, if you're experiencing too much pain, it's tough to play. Like in my case, in '88, I broke my wrist just prior to the playoffs, so I had a cast on the whole playoff. So it didn't hurt, but it really compromised my ability to handle a puck. And not that I was a top puck handler by any means, but I mean, it really. So I mean, there was times where I felt I was, I couldn't make many plays, and it was frustrating. But I kept look to the coaches and say, hey, listen, if you don't want to play me, don't play me. I mean, I don't want to compromise the success of the team. But I guess the rest of the guys could cover for it. But it's really that the main thing is if because you're always going to want the top guys, even if they're
at 70%. They're going to be better than someone you're throwing in there. But they obviously can't do that if they're feeling too much pain.
Yeah. So, no, I was just kind of curious, like, the conversation you would tell the coach, hey, if you don't want to play me, then don't play me. So we'll see. Because obviously Darnell Nurse, we saw last game, was trying to play. I don't know what the issue is. We'll find out. That decision it's fair to say, though, that's like a game time decision, because what he feels like tomorrow might not be good enough, but 24 hours might be more than enough to get him to play. Absolutely.
I mean, there's many days in the playoffs I woke up the day of the game and thought I couldn't play. And, by the time with, good physio and lots of icing and whatever massage, if it called for it, and then you go for warm up and you're like, yep, you want me in there? I'm okay. I can play. It never, but I'd wake up the morning of the game going, no, there's no way I'm playing tonight. But once your adrenaline gets going, it makes up for a lot.
Kevin, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Will you be going to the Shania Twain concert on Saturday?
Well, I live right here, so I can hear it from my apartment. So I'll maybe watch from the balcony. But yeah, she's awesome. It's great what they're doing. I mean, just everything around Rogers Place and in the Ice District is just really nice to see for the city.
Yeah, no, it's they'll be loud on Thursday night. So enjoy that, and we'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate your time.
Okay, Jason. Thanks.
There you go. That's Kevin Lowe. Been through a lot of playoffs. And, hey, obviously you want some other depth guys going. Now, the Oilers, if Wayne didn't score, they had Messier and they had Anderson and they had Curry. Coffee, a little bit different. Like, the Oilers got, you know what? Hey, you got Draisaitl, you got McDavid. That's why I named 5 of them. Like, it doesn't have to be Connor McDavid. But if it's not McDavid, then it's got to be Draisaitl. If it's not Draisaitl, it's got to be Hyman or Bouchard or Nugent Hopkins. Like, it's got to be some of them. Because it wasn't like it was Gretzky, Curry, Messier, Coffey, and Anderson not scoring in 84. I'll go back and look, but I'll be 99% sure that it wasn't, the rest of the guys. Those are the main ones. Maybe Wayne didn't have a goal, but probably had a few apples. Quick break. We'll come back. DVD will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Nugent Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice. Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
Vision Credit Union is proud to serve rural Albertan entrepreneurs, business owners like Tanya Greenwald, who owns the Sweetery in downtown Camrose. Tanya and her team are up at the crack of dawn most days, baking cakes, cupcakes, donuts, macarons, cookies, cheesecakes, and other treats to fill the shelves at her pretty bakery. Now, that's a sweet way to get down to business. Looking for financial services to help your company get down to business? Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Cruise through summer with a sleek new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Explore the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada,
including the dynamic Outlander PHEV and the sporty Eclipse Cross.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you'll get 0% financing on all our 2024 models, including the RVR and Mirage.
Plus, every Mitsubishi comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer powertrain limited warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
5:30. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. It is, hey, it's Tuesday, 40 Tuesday. If you're just like, you know what, I need some comfort food, I'm a little concerned, then you can use that at papajohns.ca because 40% off all day. It's nice. Now, let's get to our playoff report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. More than just tires, they offer a wide range of auto repair and services for your expert mechanics. Visit fountaintire.com to see all the mechanical services that they offer. As Derek Van Diest, the royalty of covering the NHL playoffs, just arrived on his old charter from Florida. DVD, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. So, what's your sense of this series? The Oilers, McDavid, Draisaitl afterwards. I don't get any nervousness, at least outwardly, and they shouldn't be. But what's your sense being around that room of Darnell Nurse's availability in Game 3?
Yeah, I don't know. We're talking to Chris Knobloch after the game, and he said he thought he should be ready to go, but that injury looked like something popped in his hip or something happened in his hip, and he couldn't play. He tried to gut it out. Yeah, I think he had 3 shifts after the hit. He got taken in the boards by Evan Rodriguez in the first period, and he grabbed for his hip right away. So there was something there that something popped or something. I don't know, but he came back a couple of times. He took a couple of spins during TV timeouts, during the intermission. When they're coming back from the intermission, he had a 30-second shift in the second period. He had a couple of 30-second shifts in the third. I don't know. I really don't know because skating is such a big part of Darnell Nurse's game. And if he can't skate, if he can't break the cycle, he can't be physical, he's not helping you out. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see if you go with Darnell Nurse in Game 3 because, Chris Knobloch thought he would be good to go. He was confident that he'd be good to go, but I'm not so sure just the extent of the injury. And they were working on it, and they were talking to TD4 a lot on the bench there. So that's going to be a huge loss if he can't go for Game 3. Even as much as Darnell Nurse has struggled here in the playoffs, he's still giving you 23 minutes a night, 22 minutes a night, and you're going to have to find someone to replace that. And he brings that physicality in a physical series, so you need him in the lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I doubt he'll skate tomorrow. We'll be seeing if he'll take the morning skate on Thursday. But I don't share Chris Knobloch's optimism. I don't think he'll be able to go just by his body language on the bench and the way he was he stuck around on the bench and he wanted to go. He wanted to play, but he just, even when he did get on, he wasn't effective. You can't be physical if you can't skate. So I think that's going to be an issue for the Oilers on Thursday.
Yeah, you don't see it on the broadcast, but like at every TV timeout, he was getting out there, right? And just trying to stay warm and limber up. And, it was a unique situation. I get it's the Stanley Cup Finals. We saw Kane stay on the bench, the game that he got injured against Dallas, right? And opened the door. And, was Nurse sitting down? Was he standing up the whole time? What was he doing, that they don't necessarily show on the broadcast?
No, but he was sitting in the corner of the bench, and he was playing gatekeeper for a little while there. He was the guy opening and closing the bench. And then I don't know whether, during a TV timeout, he would come out and try and skate and go for a spin. And I think they decided, okay, throw him out there for one shift in the second. And obviously it didn't go well because that's the only shift he had. And then in the third, he gutted it out for a couple more, but you got to wonder if they were treating it in the dressing room between periods, freezing it, doing whatever they could, try and get him out there. But it was obvious that he couldn't move like he normally does, and it was really, really bothering him. So whatever it was, whether it's a hip or an upper body or something, but you see right away after that hit, he goes and grabs his hip with his left hand. So it's interesting to see what it is. And obviously the playoffs didn't ever tell you anything. So Chris Knobloch has learned that lesson. So he's been pretty quiet. And like I said, he was optimistic, but I don't know if a lot of people share that optimism.
Yeah, well, you know what? Obviously, you want all hands on deck now if you can get them, but if not, then someone else will have to step up. That's just the reality of the NHL playoffs. There's no time to feel sorry for yourself. You got to get up and roll, and we'll see what happens. But the Oilers come back home now. They had the long flight, the day off today. Now, Florida, are they flying today? Or are they not flying till tomorrow?
Oh, it sounds like they're flying tomorrow. Yeah. So they didn't take advantage of the extra travel day. They're going to fly tomorrow. It is a long flight. It's about whatever. We had to make a pit stop to refuel in Kansas City. So I'm assuming the Oilers did as well, and probably the Panthers will have to as well. It's such a long flight.
Well, what I hear, it's because
I
know the Oilers had to do it because they had so many people on their charter, right? And I mean, just because there's more people traveling right now than normal. Because on the way there, they didn't have to stop because the wind's at their back, but on the way home, they had to.
Yeah, so that might be it. Yeah, they didn't throw the broadcast crew off the charter. They didn't throw the web people off the charter. Usually they do. They just leave it players and management, and everyone else has to kind of fend for themselves. But this year they decided to keep everyone on the charter. From my understanding, it's a little bigger plane. They had a few more seats, so they just wanted to fill that plane up. But yeah, it's still, even on a charter, it's been a long travel. We're still not home yet, and our travel day started for a lot of these people on the bus right now, like at 5 a.m, so 6 a.m. So it's been a long day, and we were fortunate to be on a charter. There's a lot of media coming through Denver, Toronto, Montreal, making pit stops to get here. I know on the way to Florida, it took me about 14 hours door to door to get into Florida. So it's not an easy place to get to. And so especially, if the series goes to 5, 6, 7, then you got to make that trip, multiple times. It's going to be interesting to see, the wear and tear on the players later in the series if it gets to 6 or 7.
Yeah, no, it's the longest distance ever in the NHL for a Stanley Cup final. So I understand this might have been one where 2-3-2 would have made more sense, in fact. But we'll see. That's obviously not an option right now in the National Hockey League. Would you think of the Oilers lineup last night? They didn't play as well as game one. That's kind of Captain Obvious, Derek. But being in the building, you see it, the game was still 1-1, despite not, they didn't score, they didn't generate a lot, but they really didn't give up much in the first 40 minutes either, right? And if it's an unfortunate giveaway by Bouchard, and who knows where the game goes if that doesn't happen.
No, you're right, but that's been a theme of this Oilers team all playoffs. They give away goals. You can't give away goals to good teams and expect to overcome that. Bouchard, that was a terrible play. He put it right on the stick of Rodriguez, and he fired it in the top shelf. And you have to, and I get it. Bouchard played a lot. He was playing a lot of hockey. He looked kind of fatigued towards the end of that game. But you gotta. It's mentally, you gotta make smarter plays than that, especially if you're trying to hold the lead and you're trying to, get that game in overtime, or you're trying to sneak that win out. You can't make mistakes like that. And the Oilers, we've seen it throughout the playoffs. Giveaways right up the middle. We saw it in Vancouver. They almost threw, they threw game 1 away, and they almost threw game 7 away by making just terrible mistakes. And the good things Bouchard does on the ice offensively, he's sometimes a liability in his own end. We saw at Vancouver when he tried to step out in front of the net, got the puck stolen, and they scored. So you've got to be smart. If you want to win a championship, you've got to be smart with the puck. make them earn their goals. Make them work for their goals. Don't just give goals away, especially when it's tight like this. Like, it's, you know, your 1-goal margins here and there. Don't give away a goal. Like, if you're going to start down 1-0 every game because you're going to throw the puck away, then that's a tough hill to climb. And so, you know, that's one thing that, you know, you think that the Oilers would have learned through this lesson. You thought they would have learned through in the second round. It's just don't give goals away. But, you know, they gave another one away, and it's just so disheartening when you're working so hard to try and stay in a game, and then you just throw the puck away like that. So I think that was obviously the turning point in the game last night. I thought the Darnell Nurse injury was a turning point. The Warren Fogle 5-minute major was a turning point. You know, that you can debate whether, you know, was that a lot different than Sam Bennett's knee on Evan Bouchard earlier in the game? Like, what's the difference between that knee and the other knee? Chris Knobloch said the only difference was that their guy stayed down for about 4 minutes and didn't miss a shift, by the way. He was right back at. So that's one of the things, those little calls, those little, you know, make a big difference. That over the glass call that the referee decided wasn't over the glass, that would have given the Oilers a 5-on-3. You give that power play 5-on-3, they probably score on that. So it's little margins like that make difference in big games like this. And I think that was the situation. The Oilers didn't play well. Like, Florida was going to play well. They knew they were going to play better. Florida didn't play well in the first game, but still was able to win it. Oilers didn't play well in the second game, and they weren't able to win it. So they're a bit of a hole here now, but, you know, they got to take it one game at a time. Reminiscent of 2006, they lost both games in Carolina, came home. They won Game 3, and I think it's all about winning Game 3. Because if you lose Game 3, go down 3-0, then the series is over. You win Game 3, even if you lose Game 4, I think you still have a fighting chance. So that'll give me a huge game on Thursday.
DVD, get some rest. Thanks for joining us, and we'll chat with you at the rink tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Jay.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest. That's our playoff report brought to you by Fountain Tire. Quick break. We'll wrap things up. Lots of text to get you. We'll get your thoughts. Where are you at, Oiler fans? Do you still believe? Do you have the blue and yellow sign mentally in your brain right now? Believe. 833-401-1440. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton. Let's bring it home. This is Sports 1440.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. The base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to Gregor at sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team. Take your bedroom to the next level this spring at the Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off major kitchen appliances and free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Ennio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Except when they talk hockey.
Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker, and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Area, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape for only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed. Payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
On, man. Ooh, I like it. Going a little old school. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Ooh, looks to kill. That is an old school. What year is that song? Does it say? Oof. Oh, I have to look that bad boy up. I like it. Yes, I did.
Do you like it?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't, like I wasn't expecting an Academy Award, Oscar type of a movie, but you know what? It gave some decent insight into things a little bit. Like, you know what? That being a rock star at that time, man, the fact that some of them are still alive is quite the achievement for sure. So,
84.
Okay, there you go. I like it. Hey guys, Kachuk was barely touched by Bouchard. The rest fell sport despite worse things happening. Lesson learned. I'm betting Bouchard will respond and be better. Maybe refs will file that away, all the flopping too. From I will say, Rob, I think it's a valid thing to suggest that yes, Florida flopped a few times, no doubt in my mind. That one, but like Kevin Lowe said, you can't retaliate. You can't do it. Don't even if Bouchard doesn't touch him, guess what? There's no penalty. So don't give them the option. You saw Bennett on one play. There's Bouchard again, touched him and he goes down like he's shot. Like, I would love the officials at one point to just say, you know what? Go to them before the game. If I see a flop, it's a penalty. And then if they do it, say, I warned you guys. Do it before the game. To me, and well, you know what? Dave Jackson's going to join us tomorrow. So that's something that I ask. If you're an official and you were watching the previous game, because they rotate officials, would you before the game just go say, guys, if I see a flop, you're trying to draw a call, guess what? I'm just going to call for you. And I know it's embellishments on a flop. That's a basketball term, but everybody knows what I'm saying. It's something to consider. No question about it. Hey, guys, I didn't have no idea how much people hated the Oilers until this run. It's shocking the amount of sore loserness coming out of other fan bases from Ontario Moms. Really? Well, now, are you talking about social media? Let's remember social media isn't reality. It's a small percentage of people who love, unfortunately, to post a lot of negativity. That's unfortunately the majority of social media. I could post a really good positive story. It gets like 5 responses. You post anything that's remotely questionable, you get like 50 to 100. It's just that different. I'm telling you, it's unfortunate, but for whatever reason, more people want to complain and be negative on there. But you got to understand, the Oilers had 4 first overall draft picks for a long time. And there's some fan bases that are still a little bit bitter because they got McDavid. And they're like, why would they get McDavid? Right. So I understand it. Right. I get it. But I actually don't think it's new. You might just see it more, but I think it's already been there. So, guys, I hate to say it, I don't think the Oilers will win the series. It's hard to believe a team that continues to be its own worst enemy, making huge mistakes. That seems to be the constant. These guys not figured out by now. It's amazing to me. They've overpassed thinking they're the Harlem Globetrotters. Guys, if it was overtime, I doubt they'd be overpassing. The lack of urgency and understanding is baffling from John. Hey, boys, being the non-doctor I am, it looks like oblique issue, and they're going to try different injections to block it from Hacksaw regarding Nurse. Hey, guys, maybe Draisaitl isn't good under pressure. I mean, he couldn't hit any of those targets in the All-Star game either. Kidding. I think we will all be okay from Kevlar. Guys, I don't think it's not that the Oilers are losing. It's how they're losing. The big guys have been neutered. Ekoma has the only goal. The power play can't produce. Bouchard hasn't been great in the series. Skinner hasn't played bad, but he can't make the big save when needed. Florida has gotten in the Oilers' minds from Gord. Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, hey, I'll give Florida credit. Have they maybe got them frustrated a bit? Fair. But it's only 2 games for the power play. History tells me, and you got a 5-year history, that the Oilers will figure it out. Thing is, though, they got to figure it out in game 3. I think that's very fair to say that you don't have much more time, man. If they wait till game 4, guess what? Series is over. Can't do it. Cannot do it at all. Guys, all I'm caring is that the Oilers make it a series. It'd be great to win. I want them to win. A sweep just can't be. Do you know when the last time there was a sweep in the NHL Stanley Cup final? Well, the Panthers got swept in 96. And I want to say 98, Washington, when they got swept by the Detroit Red Wings. Would that be the last one? Con, step it out. But when I think 99, no. 2001, no. Obviously not 2002, 3, no. 4 was the Flames. 6 was the Oilers. Senators in 7. There's been no sweeps. I know that for a fact since the lockout. So I want to say 98.
You got it.
Washington.
That was it.
Okay. So, yeah, there's 98. There was 96. Did the Penguins sweep? No, Chicago swept the Oilers in the conference final. And
4 straight years.
Yeah, that was 4 straight years, right?
Yeah. Red Wings twice, Avs and Devils.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So a little bit of a run, but nonetheless, I don't think the Oilers are getting swept. I'd be very surprised if that happens. I'll say it today. It's Tuesday. The game isn't for 48 hours. One of McDavid and Draisaitl is going to have a very big... Now, a big game in the Stanley Cup Finals, 2 points. But I see it coming for 97 or 29. Have yourselves a great evening, everyone. We will talk more hockey tomorrow. We'll get some officials on the show and much more. It should be a lot of fun. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed any part of the show, go to jasongregor.com for the interviews and anywhere you get your podcasts for the show. Here's Connor Halley in his Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. No overtime charges. That's how they build a legacy at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Sam Carrick was fined $2,213, the maximum allowable under the CBA for slashing Panthers defenseman Dmitry Kulikov late in Florida's victory over the Oilers 4-1 in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. No NHL tonight, no NBA. We got Major League Baseball, though. The Jays in action, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. First pitch set for 6:10. Game's underway right now. Nationals to the Tigers 2-0. Orioles up on the Braves 3-0. The Cubs have a 1-0 lead over the Rays. Guardians on top of the Reds 2-1. Mets lead the Marlins by that same score. And Phillies Red Sox tied at 1 apiece. Twins, Rockies, Pirates, Cards both scoreless. Still to come, you'll have the Royals taking on the Yankees, the Angels, and Arizona's. Mariners host the White Sox. Athletics take on the Padres. Giants up against the Astros, and the Rangers in Los Angeles. The Edmonton Riverhawks set to take on Kelowna once again tonight. That one's set to get going at 7:05. In the WNBA, the Mystics lead the Dream 25-15 in the second. Later tonight, you got the Aces taking on the Lynx and the Sparks in Seattle to battle the Storm. From the soccer world, Canadian striker Jonathan David could be on the radar of Manchester United of the English Premier League. ESPN reporting that he is of interest because he's in the final year of his career and the transfer fee could be lower. David has appeared in 48 matches for Canada, scoring 26 goals. And John Rahm is withdrawing from the U.S. Open due to an infection in his left foot. The 29-year-old had to withdraw from a live event this past weekend in Houston, calling the injury a concern. The Open gets going Thursday in North Carolina. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, we've got another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 14.